The sky above the Hidden Leaf village shattered like glass. Not cracked, not torn, shattered. A jagged wound ripped across the clouds, stretching from horizon to horizon. Lightning screamed through the opening like a dying god, twisting the air into spirals of violent energy. The ground trembled, buildings rattled. Birds fell from the sky as if the very world had suddenly forgotten how to breathe. Inside the Hokage office, Naruto Uzumaki froze mid-sentence. The window behind him exploded inward. Wind roared through the room like a hurricane, scattering papers and maps across the floor. Naruto's blue eyes widened. What the hell? Outside, the sky burned crimson. A vortex of darkness churned above the village like a living storm. Sakura burst through the door. Naruto! I see it. Naruto stepped to the broken window, staring up at the violent tear ripping the heavens apart. The chakra in the air felt wrong, twisted, ancient. Even Kurama stirred inside him. This presence, the Nine Tails rumbled deep in Naruto's mind. It isn't chakra. A thunderclap boomed across the sky. Then something fell out of the rift. At first it looked like a meteor, a black streak of fire screaming toward the earth. But meteors didn't laugh. And this thing was laughing. A deep, delighted laugh echoed across the sky as the object plummeted toward the forest outside the village. Naruto vanished in a flash of yellow chakra. The impact hit like a nuclear explosion. Trees disintegrated. The earth collapsed inward. A crater hundreds of meters wide tore open in the forest. Dust clouds rose like volcanic smoke. Naruto landed at the crater's edge seconds later, cloak of Kurama chakra flickering around him. Sakura and Sasuke arrived moments after. Sasuke's Rinnegan spun slowly as he studied the crater. This isn't natural, he muttered. Naruto stared into the darkness below. Something moved. Then a figure stepped out of the smoke. A tall man, black boots crunching broken stone, a red coat flowing like liquid blood. A wide-brimmed hat shadowed his face. His yellow eyes glowed through the dust, and the smile on his face was pure insanity. The stranger looked around the destroyed forest, inhaling deeply as if tasting the air. Ah, his voice was smooth, delighted. Another world. Sakura whispered. Who is that? Naruto stepped forward. Hey, you just destroyed half the forest. The man tilted his head slowly toward Naruto. Then he laughed again. A deep, monstrous laugh that echoed through the crater. Well, well. He lifted his head slightly, revealing glowing predator eyes beneath the hat. So this world has interesting little warriors. Sasuke stepped forward, hand already resting on his sword. State your name. The stranger placed a gloved hand over his chest in an exaggerated bow. Alucard. The name hung in the air like a curse. Naruto frowned. Never heard of you. Alucard's grin widened. Most worlds haven't. His eyes scanned the three shinobi. The chakra radiating from them twisted through the air like flames. Especially Naruto. Alucard's eyes glowed brighter. Oh, he chuckled. Now that is fascinating. Kurama growled inside Naruto's mind. Be careful, that creature isn't human. Naruto crossed his arms. Look, Alucard, I don't know where you came from, but you can't just drop into our world and start blowing things up. Alucard stared at him silently. Then, he vanished. Naruto's eyes widened. Behind! Too late. Alucard appeared behind Naruto, like a shadow teleporting through reality. Sakura gasped. Sasuke's Sharingan flared. Alucard leaned close to Naruto's ear. You smell strange. Naruto spun with a Rasengan forming instantly in his palm. Rasengan! The spinning sphere slammed directly into Alucard's chest. Boom! The explosion blasted him across the crater, smashing him into a cliff wall. Rock shattered. Dust exploded. Naruto lowered his hand, breathing hard. That should... The laughter started again. Low. Amused. The dust slowly cleared. Alucard stepped out of the crater wall. Unharmed. Not a scratch. Naruto blinked. What? Sakura whispered. Impossible. Sasuke narrowed his eyes. Alucard brushed imaginary dust off his coat. Well, that was adorable. Naruto's jaw tightened. Okay, now I'm getting annoyed. Kurama chakra erupted around him. Golden flames burst into the sky. The ground cracked beneath his feet. Alucard's smile grew wider. Yes! His eyes glowed like twin suns. Show me! Naruto shot forward faster than lightning. His fist slammed into Alucard's face. Boom! Shockwaves tore through the forest. Alucard's head snapped sideways, but his body didn't move. Naruto punched again, and again, and again, every blow powerful enough to flatten mountains. Each impact sent shockwaves through the crater, but Alucard simply stood there, laughing. You're strong. Naruto stopped, breathing hard. But you're still human. Alucard raised his head slowly. Human. His grin stretched unnaturally wide. No. His shadow spread across the ground like liquid darkness. I am something far worse. The shadows erupted. Black tendrils burst from the ground like living serpents. Naruto jumped back as the darkness lashed toward him. Sasuke leaped forward. Amaterasu! Black flames exploded across Alucard's body. The vampire vanished inside a storm of eternal fire. For a moment, everything went silent. Then Alucard's voice echoed from inside the flames. Oh my! The fire suddenly twisted inward and died. Alucard stepped out completely unharmed. His yellow eyes burned brighter than ever. You people, he chuckled, are delightful. Sasuke's Rinnegan pulsed. Naruto clenched his fists. Something was wrong. Very wrong. This monster wasn't just strong. He was enjoying this. Alucard looked up toward the sky where the dimensional rift still burned. Then back at Naruto. Tell me something, boy. His grin widened. Does this world have heroes? Naruto stepped forward. You're looking at one. Alucard's eyes gleamed. Oh. His shadows erupted again, this time spreading across the entire crater like a living ocean. Tens of thousands of glowing red eyes opened within the darkness. Sakura gasped. Sasuke's sword slid halfway from its sheath. Naruto's chakra flared violently. Alucard's voice echoed from every direction. Good. The shadows rose into the sky like a tidal wave. Because I've been very... His smile stretched into something monstrous. Very bored. And then, the shadows attacked. Naruto's eyes widened. Sasuke activated Susanoo instantly. Sakura slammed her fist into the ground. The forest exploded into chaos. But deep inside the darkness, something far worse was waking up. Something ancient. Something that had sensed Alucard's arrival. Far away. Beneath the ruins of an ancient temple, a pair of red eyes slowly opened, and a voice whispered into the darkness. Interesting. The ground trembled, because the creature awakening was Madara Uchiha, and he had just felt a monster enter his world. The forest around the crater turned into a war zone within seconds. Naruto exploded forward in a flash of golden light, his chakra cloak roaring like a living inferno. The ground shattered under every step as he charged straight into the rising ocean of shadows. Shadow Clone Jutsu! Hundreds of Narutos burst into existence, each glowing with Kurama's power. They flooded the battlefield like a golden army, Rasengan spinning violently in their hands. Take him down. The clones surged toward the towering mass of darkness that had erupted from Alucard's body. But the shadows moved. No. They hunted. Dozens of black tendrils shot out like spears, impaling several clones mid-air. The clones exploded into smoke one after another as the shadows twisted and snapped through the battlefield like predatory snakes. Naruto skidded to a stop, eyes narrowing. This guy's insane. Above him, Sasuke's Susanoo materialized. A towering purple warrior clad in armor of pure chakra. The giant avatar raised its ethereal bow. Sasuke's Rinnegan glowed. Indra's arrow. Lightning began gathering around the massive arrow forming in Susanoo's hand. The sky darkened as the attack built energy powerful enough to erase mountains. Alucard looked up and laughed. Ah, now this is more like it. His body dissolved into shadows again. The ground beneath Naruto exploded as hundreds of monstrous shapes erupted from the darkness. Grotesque creatures made entirely of blood and shadow. Fanged wolves. Winged demons. Twisted corpses wearing medieval armor. Each creature's eyes glowed red. Naruto stared in disbelief. What the? The army roared. Then charged. Incoming! Naruto shouted. Sakura slammed both fists into the earth. Chakra control! The ground erupted upward in massive stone spikes, impaling dozens of creatures instantly. But the monsters kept coming. One lunged toward her with claws the size of swords. Sakura dodged, spinning and smashing her fist into its skull. The impact blew the creature apart in a violent spray of black blood. She landed lightly, breathing hard. They just keep multiplying. Above the battlefield, Sasuke released the arrow. Now. Boom! Indra's arrow screamed through the sky like a divine judgment. It struck the center of Alucard's shadow army. The explosion was catastrophic. Lightning devoured the battlefield. Trees vaporized. Mountains cracked in the distance. The shockwave flattened the entire forest. For a moment, everything disappeared inside the blinding light. Naruto shielded his eyes. Sakura braced herself against the windstorm. And Sasuke stared down through the fading explosion. Silence. Smoke drifted across the ruined landscape. The shadow army was gone. Naruto lowered his arm slowly. Did we get him? Then the laughter returned. Low. Mocking. Echoing from every direction. The smoke twisted unnaturally, spiraling inward toward a single point in the crater. And from the darkness, Alucard stepped forward again, perfectly intact. His coat fluttered slightly in the wind. His grin was wider than ever. Well done. Naruto's jaw dropped. You've got to be kidding me. Alucard clapped slowly. Truly impressive power. His glowing eyes locked onto Sasuke. That arrow, I felt that one. Sasuke's expression remained cold. You should be dead. Alucard chuckled. My dear boy. His eyes gleamed with something ancient and terrifying. I have died thousands of times. His body suddenly burst apart. Blood exploded outward in every direction like a crimson storm. Naruto flinched. What? The blood didn't fall. It hovered. Floating droplets filled the sky above the battlefield. Thousands. Millions. Each drop began to move. Twisting. Stretching. Forming shapes. Naruto's eyes widened. No way! The blood reshaped into soldiers. Thousands of them. Ancient warriors in rusted armor. Their hollow eyes glowed red. Each one carried a weapon. Each one radiated killing intent. Sakura whispered in horror. This is an army. Alucard's voice echoed from the sky itself. My army. The blood soldiers roared. Then charged. Naruto clenched his fists. All right, that's it. Kurama's chakra exploded outward. A massive golden fox-shaped aura formed around him. Tails of pure energy whipped through the air like giant blades. "Let's see how many you can make." Naruto jumped into the sky. Tailed beast, Rasen Shuriken. A gigantic spinning sphere formed above him, crackling with destructive chakra. He hurled it into the approaching army. The Rasen Shuriken detonated like a nuclear bomb. The entire battlefield vanished inside the explosion. The shockwave blasted outward for kilometers. Hundreds of blood soldiers were erased instantly. But they kept coming. Naruto landed heavily, panting. This guy's endless. Sasuke appeared beside him. His Rinnegan pulsed. He's not summoning them. Naruto glanced at him. What? Sasuke's eyes narrowed as he studied the battlefield. They're coming from him. Naruto looked toward Alucard. The vampire stood calmly in the center of the storm. Every time one of his soldiers died, more crawled out of his shadow. Naruto's stomach dropped. He's making them from his body? Alucard tipped his hat slightly. Very perceptive. His grin widened. I am an ocean of souls. Naruto frowned. That's creepy. Alucard laughed. War usually is. Suddenly, the ground shook violently. Not from Naruto. Not from Sasuke. Something else. Something far away. A massive pulse of chakra erupted across the planet like a shockwave. Naruto froze. What was that? Even Kurama growled uneasily. That chakra. Sasuke's Rinnegan widened. No! He turned toward the distant mountains. That's impossible. Naruto followed his gaze. What? Sasuke spoke slowly. Madara. The name hit the air like thunder. Naruto blinked. Madara's dead. Another shockwave erupted across the sky. Even Alucard paused. His glowing eyes shifted toward the distant horizon. Oh? Miles away. A mountain collapsed. Stone shattered as a figure stepped out from the ruins. Long black hair. Crimson armor. Eyes glowing with the Rinnegan. Madara Uchiha looked toward the distant battlefield. Toward the monstrous chakra storm. And toward the presence he had just sensed. He smiled slightly. A new monster. His Susanoo flickered behind him like a sleeping god. Madara's voice was calm. Interesting. Back in the ruined forest. Alucard's grin slowly widened again. Oh! His eyes gleamed with excitement. I like this world. Naruto clenched his fists. The Blood Army was still surrounding them. Sasuke's Susanoo stood ready. Sakura prepared another devastating strike. But all three shinobi felt it. That overwhelming chakra approaching from the distance. Naruto muttered under his breath. Great. Alucard chuckled softly. This just became entertaining. The ground trembled again. And far across the horizon, a massive purple Susanoo began rising into the sky. Madara had arrived. And the battlefield was about to become something far worse than a war. It was about to become a monster hunt. But the question was, who was the monster? Naruto? Madara? Or the vampire who had just invaded their world? Alucard's grin stretched wider. Because for the first time in centuries, he felt something close to excitement. And as Madara's colossal Susanoo appeared on the horizon, Alucard whispered one word. Finally! The horizon exploded. A massive purple Susanoo rose into the sky like a god awakening from slumber. Mountains cracked beneath its feet as the colossal warrior unfolded its armored wings, towering over the battlefield like a titan of legend. The air itself bent under the pressure of its chakra. Naruto's eyes widened. No way! Sasuke's Rinnegan pulsed violently as he stared at the approaching giant. Perfect Susanoo. Sakura clenched her fists. You've got to be kidding me. The forest trembled as the enormous figure stepped forward, each movement sending shockwaves across the ground. Trees snapped like twigs. The crater where Naruto and Alucard stood trembled under the sheer weight of the presence approaching them. At the center of the Susanoo stood a man in crimson armor. Long black hair flowed in the wind like a banner of war. Madara Uchiha. His Rinnegan eyes glowed with calm, terrifying confidence as he surveyed the battlefield. The shattered forest. Naruto's blazing chakra cloak. Sasuke's Susanoo. And at the center of it all, Alucard. Madara's lips curved slightly. So this is the disturbance I felt. His voice carried effortlessly across the battlefield despite the distance. Naruto shouted back, "Madara, you picked a really bad time to show up." Madara didn't respond. His eyes were locked on the vampire. Alucard tipped his hat slightly in greeting. "Well now." His smile widened. "A warrior king." Madara stepped down from the Susanoo, landing gracefully on a broken ridge overlooking the crater. The gigantic Susanoo remained standing behind him like a silent guardian. Madara folded his arms. "You're not from this world." Alucard chuckled. "My reputation precedes me already?" Madara ignored the joke. "You carry thousands of souls." Alucard's grin grew wider. "Millions." For the first time, Madara's eyes sharpened with interest. "Interesting." Naruto stepped forward quickly. "Hey, maybe we can deal with this vampire guy first before—" Madara raised a hand. Naruto stopped. The killing intent pouring from Madara was suffocating. "I will decide what happens here." Naruto's jaw tightened. "You really haven't changed." Alucard began laughing again. "Oh, this is delightful." He spread his arms wide. "A hero, a rival, and a god." His yellow eyes gleamed. "Which one of you wants to die first?" Madara vanished. A sonic boom ripped through the air as he appeared directly in front of Alucard. His fist slammed forward. The punch landed with the force of a meteor. Boom! The ground collapsed inward as the impact created a massive shockwave across the crater. Naruto shielded his face from the wind blast. Sakura stumbled back. Sasuke watched silently. Dust filled the battlefield. Madara stood calmly in the center of the crater, his arm extended from the strike. Alucard's body had been completely obliterated. Only fragments of blood remained splattered across the ground. Madara looked down at the red stains. Weak. Then the blood moved. Every drop began sliding across the ground. Crawling. Reforming. Madara turned slowly. Alucard's body rebuilt itself behind him, bone and flesh knitting together like living clay. Within seconds, the vampire stood whole again. Still smiling. Madara's eyes narrowed slightly. "So you regenerate." Alucard dusted off his coat. "That was rude." Madara attacked again. This time faster. His kick smashed through Alucard's chest, ripping his torso completely apart. The vampire's body exploded into hundreds of pieces. Madara followed instantly with a fire technique. "Fire style, majestic destroyer flame." A wall of inferno surged across the battlefield, devouring every piece of Alucard's scattered body. Flames roared like a dragon unleashed. The entire crater turned into a burning hellscape. Naruto stared at the inferno. "Okay, that should definitely—" The flames twisted. Black shadows rose through the fire like ghosts. Then Alucard stepped out again. Perfect. Untouched. Still laughing. Madara studied him carefully now. "You're not alive." Alucard tilted his head. "That depends on your definition." Madara's Rinnegan spun slowly. "I've killed immortals before." Alucard's grin sharpened. "I've killed gods." The tension in the air thickened like a storm about to break. Naruto whispered to Sasuke, Should we stop them? Sasuke shook his head slightly. No, because something else was happening. Madara smiled. Not his usual arrogant smirk. A genuine smile. I see. His Susanoo behind him suddenly grew brighter. Chakra erupted into the sky like a volcanic eruption. Madara spoke calmly. Then I'll simply destroy everything that makes you. The perfect Susanoo raised its massive sword. The blade alone was the size of a mountain. Naruto's eyes widened. Madara, wait! Too late. The Susanoo swung. The sword carved through the air with apocalyptic force. The strike split the forest for miles. Mountains cracked. The earth itself screamed under the impact. The blade cut directly through Alucard, and kept going. Half the battlefield vanished in the attack. Naruto barely managed to block the shockwave with a chakra barrier. Dust storms swallowed the sky. When the wind finally cleared, the crater was gone. A canyon had replaced it. Hundreds of meters deep. Sakura stared in disbelief. That attack, Naruto whispered. He just sliced the earth. At the center of the canyon stood Madara. Alone. For a moment. Nothing moved. Then the canyon walls began to bleed. Red liquid seeped from every crack in the stone. Naruto's heart sank. No. The blood flooded the canyon floor. It began forming shapes again. Hundreds. Thousands. Madara watched silently. The blood finally gathered together in front of him. Alucard rose from the crimson ocean once more. Still smiling. Still amused. Madara sighed slightly. So that won't work either. Alucard spread his arms wide. You see the problem? His voice echoed across the battlefield. I am war itself. Naruto gritted his teeth. This guy's insane. Madara's eyes gleamed. Good. The Susanoo behind him roared as its power intensified. Madara stepped forward slowly. If you cannot die. He raised his hand. Then I'll enjoy breaking you forever. Alucard's laughter echoed through the canyon. Oh, I like you. His shadow expanded again, swallowing the battlefield. The army of souls began rising once more. But this time, Madara's Susanoo roared in response. The two monsters faced each other across the ruined landscape. One, an immortal vampire containing millions of souls. The other, a shinobi god capable of destroying continents. Naruto looked between them nervously. Sasuke? Sasuke's Rinnegan gleamed. Yes. Naruto swallowed. This is about to get really bad, isn't it? Sasuke didn't answer. Because at that exact moment, Madara activated another power. The sky darkened instantly. The moon above began to glow red. Naruto's eyes widened in horror. No way! Madara's voice echoed across the battlefield. Infinite Tsukuyomi. Alucard's grin suddenly faded. For the first time, the vampire looked interested. The moon turned blood red. A colossal pulse of chakra erupted from Madara Uchiha, racing into the heavens like a divine signal. The sky trembled as the clouds spiraled violently around the glowing moon. Naruto's heart dropped. No, 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 no! Sakura's eyes widened in terror. Madara's trying to activate the infinite Tsukuyomi! The entire battlefield darkened as the light of the cursed moon began spilling across the land like liquid crimson. Sasuke's Rinnegan flared. He's serious. Across the canyon, Madara stood with his arms slowly rising toward the sky, his cloak fluttering in the violent wind of his own chakra. The perfect Susanoo behind him radiated power like a burning star. His voice echoed across the ruined forest. This world has grown stagnant. His eyes glowed with cold determination. I will reshape it. Naruto clenched his fists. Like hell you will. Golden chakra exploded around him as Kurama's energy surged violently. The ground cracked beneath his feet as he launched into the sky, racing toward Madara. But something else moved faster. A blur of red. Naruto blinked. Alucard appeared directly in front of Madara, floating casually in midair. Hat tilted. Grin wide. Well now. The vampire looked up at the glowing moon with fascination. That's a lovely trick. Madara didn't stop. The red light of the infinite Tsukuyomi grew stronger. Move! Alucard chuckled. Or what? Madara vanished. He reappeared behind Alucard instantly. His fist shot forward. The punch shattered the air. Boom! Alucard's body exploded into a cloud of blood again, splattering across the sky like a crimson storm. Naruto skidded to a halt midair. That guy seriously needs to stay dead. Madara looked up at the moon again. But the blood didn't fall. It floated. Every droplet twisting slowly through the air. Then the droplets formed a vortex. And Alucard stepped out of it once more, completely unharmed. Madara turned slowly. For the first time, his eyes held something different. Curiosity. Alucard chuckled. You're trying to hypnotize the entire planet. He looked impressed. That's ambitious. Madara's voice was cold. You are an anomaly. Alucard shrugged. I get that a lot. Madara raised his hand. The Susanoo behind him raised its massive blade again. But this time, something new appeared. Black rods of chakra formed around Madara like floating spears. Naruto's eyes widened. Truth-seeking orbs. Madara's voice echoed across the battlefield. These erase everything. Alucard's grin widened even further. Oh, good. His eyes gleamed. I was getting bored. Madara flicked his fingers. The black orbs shot forward like bullets. They struck Alucard instantly. His body vanished. Erased. Completely. Naruto froze. Did he just delete him? Sakura stared in shock. But Sasuke's eyes narrowed. Wait. The sky above them suddenly darkened. Not from clouds. From shadows. Naruto looked up slowly. What the? A massive black mass was forming above the battlefield. A swirling storm of darkness stretching across the sky. And inside the darkness, millions of glowing red eyes opened. Alucard's voice echoed from everywhere, every direction, every shadow. Well now, the darkness began pouring downward like a living ocean. That actually hurt. Madara looked up calmly. The shadows crashed down like a tidal wave. From the darkness emerged thousands of monstrous forms. Giant wolves, winged horrors, armored undead warriors, all screaming as they charged. Naruto's eyes widened. He just summoned an army the size of a country. Alucard's laughter echoed across the battlefield. This is level 1, my friends. The monsters surged toward Madara. Madara didn't move. His Susanoo raised its sword again. Then, the giant blade swept across the battlefield. Boom! The strike erased thousands of creatures instantly, but more replaced them. Hundreds. Thousands. Endless. Sakura whispered in disbelief. They're not stopping. Naruto clenched his teeth. He's literally flooding the battlefield with monsters. Sasuke studied Alucard carefully. This isn't even his full power. Naruto turned. What? Sasuke's Rinnegan gleamed. He's testing us. Madara realized it too. His expression darkened slightly. Then he spoke calmly. Enough games. The Susanoo vanished. Madara floated upward slowly. His chakra surged violently. The sky split apart as meteorites began forming above the clouds. Naruto's jaw dropped. You've got to be kidding me. Madara raised one finger. Planetary devastation. The sky cracked open. 2 enormous meteors began falling toward the battlefield. each one large enough to wipe out entire cities. Naruto shouted, "Madara, you'll destroy the whole country!" Madara didn't respond. The meteors kept falling. The monsters kept charging. The battlefield had become pure chaos. Alucard appeared again in front of Madara, floating in the air with a delighted grin. "You really are fun." Madara's eyes glowed. "Die." The first meteor slammed toward them. Naruto roared and launched himself into the sky. "I'm not letting that hit." Golden chakra exploded outward as he flew toward the falling asteroid. Sasuke followed instantly, Susanoo forming around him again. But something unexpected happened. Alucard looked up at the incoming meteor and started laughing harder than ever before. "Oh." His voice echoed across the battlefield. "Oh, this is perfect." The shadows around him began expanding again. But this time, something different happened. The shadows didn't form monsters. They opened, like gates. Hundreds of massive shadow portals tore open across the sky. Naruto froze mid-air. "What the hell are those?" From inside the portals came the sound of screaming. Millions of voices. Alucard removed his hat slowly. For the first time, his eyes burned like demonic suns. "Very well." His voice deepened. "Let's stop playing." Madara's eyes narrowed, because the vampire's aura suddenly exploded into something far more terrifying than before. The sky itself darkened as an ancient power awakened, and Alucard spoke 4 words. "Release control art restriction." Naruto felt his heart stop. Sasuke's Rinnegan widened. Madara's expression finally changed, because the vampire had just unleashed something that dwarfed the battlefield. A power that contained millions of souls. The portals above the sky began opening wider, and something enormous started coming through. Something so large, it blocked the falling meteors. Naruto whispered in shock. What did he just summon? Alucard's grin stretched across his face like a nightmare. Everything. The sky collapsed into darkness. The hundreds of shadow gates above the battlefield ripped wider, stretching across the heavens like wounds in reality. From inside them poured a sound so overwhelming it made the earth tremble. Millions of voices, screaming, crying, laughing. The sound of an army that had died 1,000 times, but never found peace. Naruto hovered mid-air, frozen. What is that? Even Kurama inside him had gone silent. Below them, Alucard floated calmly with his hat removed, his crimson coat whipping violently in the supernatural wind pouring from the portals. His glowing yellow eyes stared upward, satisfied. Behold, his voice echoed across the battlefield like a king addressing an empire. My world. The gates exploded open, and the army descended. A tidal wave of undead soldiers poured out of the portals like a living apocalypse. Knights in rusted armor, skeletal cavalry riding nightmare horses, winged demons with claws like blades, twisted creatures made from pure darkness. Thousands, then tens of thousands, then hundreds of thousands. Within seconds, the sky was completely filled with Alucard's army. The ground vanished beneath their shadows. Naruto stared in disbelief. That's not an army, Sakura whispered beside him. That's a war. Alucard's laughter echoed through the chaos. This is level 0. The vampire slowly descended to the canyon floor as his army flooded the battlefield behind him like a crimson ocean. Across from him stood Madara Uchiha, unmoving, unimpressed. The 2 falling meteors Madara had summoned were now descending directly toward the battlefield, but the swarm of undead creatures crashed into them like a living shield. Thousands of monsters slammed against the meteors. Explosions erupted across the sky. The first meteor shattered under the overwhelming assault of bodies and claws. The second one slammed into the canyon wall, erupting in a cataclysmic explosion that flattened miles of forest. Naruto shielded Sakura from the shockwave with a chakra barrier. The earth trembled violently. Dust filled the air again. But through the chaos, Madara walked forward calmly, his Rinnegan eyes glowing like twin moons. "You command many corpses." Alucard tilted his head. "I collect interesting people." The vampire snapped his fingers. The army surged forward. A tsunami of undead warriors rushed Madara like a flood swallowing a city. Naruto shouted, "Madara, move!" Madara didn't move. He raised one hand slowly. Wood style. Deep forest emergence. The ground erupted. Gigantic trees exploded from the earth like titans awakening from beneath the soil. Their massive trunks smashed through thousands of undead soldiers, impaling and crushing them instantly. Roots tore across the battlefield like giant serpents, devouring the army. But more soldiers replaced the fallen. Alucard's army simply kept coming. Naruto whispered, "This is insane." Madara's expression remained calm. But his Susanoo returned. The colossal warrior of chakra rose behind him again, towering over the battlefield like a purple god. Its sword swung once. The slash erased an entire wave of undead creatures instantly. But the army kept coming. Endless. Madara's eyes narrowed slightly. Interesting. Above the battlefield, Naruto looked at Sasuke. "What do we do?" Sasuke studied Alucard carefully. "He's not attacking seriously yet." Naruto blinked. "What?" Sasuke pointed. "Look." Naruto followed his gaze. Alucard stood in the center of the battlefield, completely relaxed. Watching. Smiling. The army was fighting. But he wasn't. Naruto's stomach sank. "He's enjoying this." Sasuke nodded slowly. "He's testing everyone here." Below them, Madara finally spoke again. "You're wasting time." His Susanoo raised its sword high into the sky. Chakra gathered around the blade until it glowed like a miniature sun. Madara's voice echoed across the battlefield. "Let's end this." The Susanoo swung downward. The blade struck the ground with apocalyptic force. The canyon exploded. A shockwave ripped across the land, annihilating tens of thousands of undead soldiers instantly. Entire sections of forest vanished from the map. Even Naruto was thrown back by the impact. Sakura slammed her fists into the ground to stabilize herself. That attack could wipe out a country. The battlefield fell silent for a moment. Alucard's army had been reduced dramatically. But the shadows moved again. More soldiers began crawling out of the darkness. Naruto groaned. He literally never runs out. Madara looked at Alucard. "You're a parasite." Alucard smiled wider. "And you're fascinating." The vampire stepped forward finally. For the first time since arriving in the Naruto world, Alucard decided to fight. His shadow expanded outward like a living sea. The ground beneath him melted into darkness. Two massive pistols appeared in his hands, the jackal and the Kasul. Naruto frowned. "Guns?" Alucard aimed them at Madara. "You're fun." Madara raised an eyebrow. The vampire pulled the triggers. Boom! The bullets shot forward like meteorites. Madara dodged the first shot easily, but the second bullet exploded against his Susanoo. The impact cracked the giant armor slightly. Madara's eyes widened just a little. "Interesting." Alucard laughed. "Those are blessed bullets." He fired again. Boom, boom, boom. Each shot slammed into Susanoo with devastating force, creating explosions large enough to shake the battlefield. Madara stepped forward through the smoke, then vanished. In the next instant, he appeared directly in front of Alucard. His fist shot forward. The punch ripped through Alucard's chest. The vampire's body exploded again, but Madara followed instantly with another truth-seeking orb. The black sphere slammed into the blood fragments and erased them completely. Silence fell across the battlefield. Naruto blinked. Did he finally? Then the shadows behind Madara moved. Alucard appeared again, grinning wider than ever. Good attempt. Madara turned slowly. For the first time, the legendary Uchiha looked annoyed. You're persistent. Alucard chuckled. You're entertaining. The battlefield trembled again as both monsters faced each other. The undead army was still flooding the forest. Madara's Susanoo still towered over everything. Naruto and Sasuke watched from the sky. But suddenly, something changed. A massive pulse of different chakra erupted across the world. Naruto froze. Wait! Sasuke's Rinnegan spun rapidly. Impossible. Far away, across the ocean, a gigantic figure began rising from the sea. 10 enormous tails spread across the horizon. The sky darkened instantly. Naruto whispered in horror. No! Sakura stared at the distant silhouette. The 10 tails. Madara slowly turned toward the horizon. A small smile appeared on his face. Perfect timing. Alucard looked toward the rising beast. His grin slowly widened again. Oh. He laughed softly. This world really does have everything. The 10 tails roared. Its scream shook the planet. Naruto's heart began pounding. Because if Madara became the 10 tails Jinchuriki, this battle wouldn't just destroy a forest. It would destroy the entire Naruto universe. Alucard cracked his neck slowly. His eyes gleamed with excitement. Good. He raised his guns again. Let's see how strong this world really is. The ocean exploded. A monstrous roar shook the entire planet as the 10 tails rose from the sea like an ancient god, clawing its way back into existence. Waves the size of mountains crashed against the coastline, while storm clouds spiraled violently above the beast. 10 massive tails whipped across the sky like living tornadoes. Each movement shook the earth. Naruto hovered above the ruined battlefield, staring toward the distant horizon where the beast had appeared. His voice dropped to a whisper. No way. Even Kurama inside him sounded tense. That thing shouldn't exist again. Beside him, Sasuke's Rinnegan spun slowly. It's real. The 10 tails roared again. The shockwave flattened forests across entire valleys, miles away. Yet Naruto could feel it like thunder inside his chest. Sakura landed beside them on a shattered cliff. Madara planned this. Naruto clenched his fists. Of course he did. Across the canyon, Madara Uchiha stood calmly as the wind from the distant monster whipped his long hair around him like black flames. His eyes gleamed with satisfaction. The world will finally awaken. Behind him, the towering, perfect Susanoo slowly dissolved as Madara prepared to leave the battlefield. But before he could move, 2 gunshots echoed across the canyon. Boom! Boom! The bullets slammed into Madara's shoulder and chest, detonating with explosive force. Madara slid back across the ground slightly. Smoke rose from his armor. Alucard stood across from him, guns still raised, grinning like a man at a carnival. Oh, no you don't. Madara looked down at the smoking holes in his armor, then back at Alucard. You're still here. Alucard chuckled. You're trying to leave the party early. He spun one pistol casually around his finger. That's rude. Madara's expression hardened. This world will be mine. Alucard tilted his head. Your world? His smile widened. Oh, my dear shinobi. The shadows behind him expanded like an endless ocean. This is my playground now, Madara's Rinnegan flashed. In an instant, 4 invisible forces slammed into Alucard from different directions. The vampire's body was crushed into the canyon floor as limbo clones attacked from another dimension. The ground shattered beneath the invisible assault. Naruto gasped. Limbo! Sasuke's Rinnegan glowed as he tracked the invisible clones. 4 of them. Alucard's body twisted violently under the barrage of blows. Bone cracked. Flesh tore. Madara stepped forward calmly. You're immortal. Another invisible punch smashed Alucard's skull into the stone. But immortality doesn't make you powerful. Alucard's broken body suddenly started laughing. Even while crushed into the ground, blood pooled around him. Then the blood moved. Madara's eyes narrowed. The crimson liquid crawled across the battlefield like living snakes before reforming into Alucard again. The vampire stretched his neck casually. 4 invisible attackers. His yellow eyes gleamed. That's a neat trick. Madara raised his hand. The limbo clones attacked again. But this time, Alucard vanished. Madara's eyes widened slightly. The vampire reappeared behind him. How about this trick? Alucard fired both guns directly into Madara's back. Boom. Boom. The explosion sent Madara flying across the canyon wall. Naruto blinked. He actually hit him. Sasuke's eyes narrowed. No. Madara stepped out of the smoke calmly. Not a single injury visible. You cannot kill me. Alucard shrugged. Everyone says that. Madara turned toward the distant Ten-Tails again. I'm finished playing with you. His body began glowing with massive chakra as he prepared to teleport toward the beast. Naruto shouted from the sky. Madara, stop! Madara ignored him. But Alucard didn't. The vampire sighed dramatically. Well, that's disappointing. His shadow suddenly exploded outward. The battlefield darkened again as the army of souls began rising once more. But this time, they were different. Larger. More monstrous. Alucard cracked his neck slowly. Guess I'll have to break you first. Madara vanished. Reappearing in the sky far above the battlefield, his body began flying toward the distant Ten-Tails. Naruto reacted instantly. I'm not letting him reach that thing. Golden chakra erupted around him as he shot into the sky. Sasuke followed. Sakura leaped after them using explosive chakra bursts. But a red blur shot past all of them. Alucard, faster than any of them had expected. The vampire appeared directly in Madara's path. Floating casually in the sky, Madara stopped mid-flight. His voice was cold. Move. Alucard spread his arms. No. Madara's Rinnegan flared. The limbo clones attacked again. Invisible punches ripped through the sky. But Alucard's body twisted unnaturally as he avoided them. Then he did something shocking. He grabbed one of the invisible clones. Naruto gasped. He can see them? Alucard's eyes glowed brightly. Oh yes. His grin widened. I can see souls. The vampire crushed the limbo clone in his hand. Madara's expression darkened. Alucard laughed. You're not the only monster here. Below them, the Ten-Tails roared again. Its massive eye turned toward the battlefield, toward the enormous chakra gathering in the sky. Naruto's heart pounded. If Madara reached that thing, it would be over. But Alucard was still floating between them, grinning. Madara's patience finally snapped. The air exploded as he unleashed a massive wave of chakra. Enough! Black truth-seeking orbs formed around him again. But this time, dozens of them. The spheres rotated around Madara like miniature black planets. Alucard tilted his head. Oh! Madara pointed toward the vampire. Disappear. The orbs shot forward, faster than lightning. Naruto shouted, "Alucard, look out!" Too late. The sphere slammed into the vampire and erased him completely. Not blood, not shadows. Nothing. Gone. Naruto froze. He's dead. Sasuke stared silently. Even he couldn't sense Alucard anymore. Madara turned back toward the Ten Tails. Finally uninterrupted. He began flying again. Naruto shouted, "No!" But he was too far away. Madara was seconds from reaching the Ten Tails. The giant beast roared as it sensed its master approaching. The world itself seemed to hold its breath. Madara raised his hand toward the monster. One step closer to godhood. Then, a voice whispered behind him. "Well now." Madara froze. Alucard's voice echoed softly. "You almost had it." Madara turned slowly, and for the first time since his resurrection, Madara Uchiha's eyes widened. Because Alucard wasn't just back, he had changed. His entire body was now covered in living shadows. Millions of glowing eyes stared from within the darkness surrounding him. The sky itself bent around the vampire's presence. Naruto whispered in shock. "What is that?" Sasuke's voice was quiet. His true form. Alucard smiled wider than ever and pointed toward the Ten Tails. "Mind if I try that one?" The Ten Tails roared again. And suddenly, it looked directly at Alucard. The Ten Tails roared. The sound tore through the sky like the scream of a dying world. Waves across the ocean exploded upward as the colossal beast turned its massive eye toward the battlefield. But it wasn't looking at Madara. It was staring at Alucard. The vampire floated calmly in the sky, his body wrapped in a swirling storm of shadows. Millions of glowing eyes blinked inside the darkness surrounding him, like stars trapped inside a nightmare. Naruto hovered nearby, breathing hard. Why was it looking at him like that? Inside Naruto's mind, Kurama growled uneasily. That creature can sense souls. Naruto blinked. What? And that vampire? Kurama's voice rumbled deeply. He carries more souls than the Ten Tails has ever consumed. Naruto's stomach dropped. Below them, the Ten Tails began moving. Its massive body shifted forward, causing entire islands to tremble beneath its weight. The ocean parted around it like a sea fleeing from a god. Madara hovered in the sky between the beast and Alucard, his Rinnegan eyes calculating both threats. Interesting. He glanced toward the vampire. You've caught its attention. Alucard chuckled softly. Well, that's flattering. The Ten Tails suddenly opened its massive mouth. A sphere of chakra began forming inside its throat. Naruto's eyes widened. Oh no. Sasuke's Rinnegan spun rapidly. That's a tailed beast bomb. But this one was different. It wasn't the size of the ones Naruto or Kurama had used before. This one was the size of a mountain. The air warped violently as the enormous sphere of black and purple energy grew larger and larger. Naruto shouted, "Everyone move!" But Alucard didn't move. He floated calmly in the sky, watching the growing sphere with curiosity. Madara spoke coldly. "Idiot!" The Ten Tails fired. The tailed beast bomb launched across the sky like a meteor of pure destruction. Naruto reacted instantly. Golden chakra exploded around him. 6 paths, Sage Mode. His entire body blazed with divine energy as he formed a massive Rasen Shuriken in his hand. "I'll stop it." Naruto rocketed toward the incoming attack. Sasuke followed instantly, Susanoo forming around him. Indra's arrow. Lightning gathered around Sasuke's giant bow again. The sky crackled with power. Naruto hurled the Rasen Shuriken forward. Sasuke released the arrow. Both attacks slammed into the incoming tailed beast bomb. Boom! The sky erupted. The explosion was catastrophic. Shockwaves spread across the ocean for hundreds of miles, sending tsunamis crashing toward distant shores. The massive energy sphere detonated into a storm of pure destruction. Naruto and Sasuke were thrown backward by the blast. But when the smoke cleared, the Ten Tails was already forming another one. Naruto groaned. "You've got to be kidding me." Madara watched the battlefield calmly. Then he made his decision. His body shot toward the Ten Tails again. Naruto shouted, "Madara!" But something moved faster. A red blur. Alucard appeared directly between Madara and the beast again, still smiling. "Where do you think you're going?" Madara's eyes darkened. "I've had enough of you." The truth-seeking orbs shot forward again. Black spheres tore through the air, erasing everything they touched. Alucard didn't dodge. The sphere struck him directly. His body vanished. Erased again. Madara continued flying toward the Ten Tails. Naruto screamed, "Stop him!" But they were too far away. Madara reached the beast. The Ten Tails lowered its massive head as if recognizing its master. Madara landed directly on the monster's skull. The air trembled as his chakra surged. Naruto's heart sank. "No!" Madara raised his arms slowly. "Now!" But before he could complete the process, something enormous erupted from the ocean. A gigantic crimson creature burst out of the water beneath the Ten Tails. Its jaws clamped around one of the beast's massive legs. Crunch! The Ten Tails roared in pain as it was violently dragged sideways. Madara's eyes widened. Naruto stared in shock. "What is that?" The creature rose higher out of the water. A massive hellhound the size of a skyscraper. Its body made entirely of shadows and blood. Hundreds of glowing eyes covered its skin. Sasuke whispered quietly, "Alucard." The vampire's laughter echoed across the sky. Because he wasn't dead. He had simply become something bigger. The hellhound dragged the Ten Tails deeper into the ocean, its monstrous jaws tearing into the beast's flesh. The Ten Tails screamed in rage as its tails whipped across the sea, creating tidal waves that swallowed entire islands. Madara leaped into the air above the chaos. His expression had finally changed. Annoyance. Below him, the hellhound opened its massive mouth, and Alucard stepped out of it, floating once more. Hat returned to his head, grinning like a devil. "Sorry about that." He glanced at the wounded Ten Tails. "I wanted to try something new." Madara's Rinnegan flared with killing intent. "You will regret interfering." Alucard tilted his head. "I doubt that." The hellhound behind him roared. Its massive jaws lunged again toward the Ten Tails. The beast fired another tailed beast bomb directly into the creature's face. The explosion lit the sky like a second sun. But when the light faded, the hellhound was still there. Regenerating instantly, Naruto whispered in disbelief. "He's fighting the Ten Tails." Sakura stared at the ocean battlefield. "And winning." Madara raised his hand again. The truth-seeking orbs gathered together into a massive black spear. His voice echoed across the sky. "You're a nuisance." He hurled the spear toward Alucard. The weapon tore through the air like a black comet. Alucard's eyes glowed. The hellhound leaped forward and swallowed the spear whole. Madara's eyes widened slightly. Alucard chuckled. "That was rude." Then something shocking happened. The hellhound opened its jaws again and spat the spear back out, straight at Madara. The black weapon ripped through the sky toward him. Madara barely dodged as the spear blasted past his face and exploded against a distant mountain. The entire mountain vaporized instantly. Naruto's jaw dropped. He just threw Madara's attack back at him. Madara stared at Alucard now. Really stared. For the first time. Madara realized something important. This vampire wasn't just immortal. He was dangerous. Very dangerous. Below them, the Ten Tails roared again as it struggled against the massive hellhound tearing into its body. The entire ocean had become a battlefield of gods and monsters. Naruto turned to Sasuke. "What do we do now?" Sasuke's Rinnegan gleamed. "We survive." Because at that moment, Madara's chakra suddenly exploded outward again. The sky darkened instantly. Naruto felt the shift immediately. "Oh no!" Madara raised both hands. His voice echoed across the world. "If I cannot control the Ten Tails," his eyes glowed with terrifying power, "then I will destroy everything." Above the clouds, a new meteor began forming. But this one was different. It wasn't a meteor. It was the moon itself. Naruto's eyes widened in horror. "He's pulling the moon down." Alucard's grin slowly widened again. "Oh." He cracked his neck. "This just got interesting." The sky began to break. High above the clouds, the moon trembled as if something unseen had wrapped colossal chains around it. The stars flickered violently while gravity itself twisted under the sheer force of Madara Uchiha's chakra. Across the ocean battlefield, Naruto stared upward in horror. He's actually doing it. The moon slowly began descending. Not fast, but fast enough. Massive cracks formed across its surface as fragments broke away and burned through the atmosphere like falling cities. Sakura's voice shook. "If that thing drops..." Naruto finished the sentence. "The planet's gone." Sasuke's Rinnegan spun violently as he analyzed the gravitational pull. Madara floated in the sky, arms raised toward the heavens like a god, dragging the cosmos itself down to earth. His voice echoed across the storm. "Creation requires destruction." Below him, the Ten Tails roared as it struggled against the gigantic hellhound tearing into its body. The ocean boiled under the monstrous clash. But even that battle seemed small compared to what was happening above. The moon was falling. Naruto clenched his fists. "We have to stop him!" Golden chakra exploded around him as he launched toward Madara at full speed. Sasuke followed instantly. Lightning gathered around his Susanoo again. But another figure shot past them. A red streak. Alucard. The vampire rocketed toward Madara faster than either of them. Laughing. "You're dropping the moon?" His voice echoed through the sky like a delighted child witnessing fireworks. "That's spectacular!" Madara didn't even look at him. "Disappear." Dozens of truth-seeking orbs erupted around Madara and fired simultaneously. Black spheres ripped through the sky like divine bullets. They slammed into Alucard from every direction. The vampire vanished again. Erased. Completely. Madara returned his focus to the moon. It continued descending. The gravitational pressure alone was already tearing the atmosphere apart. Hurricanes formed across the oceans. Earthquakes spread through distant continents. Naruto roared as he charged. "I'm not letting you destroy this world!" He slammed a massive six-paths Rasen Shuriken toward Madara. Madara raised one hand. The attack froze in midair, then collapsed into nothing. Naruto's eyes widened. "What?" Madara's voice was calm. "You're still weak." The Limbo clones attacked instantly. Invisible fists slammed into Naruto from every direction, smashing him through the clouds and sending him crashing into the ocean below. Sasuke attacked next. "Chidori!" Lightning exploded from his sword as he lunged forward. Madara blocked easily. Their blades clashed in a burst of sparks. Madara kicked Sasuke away with devastating force. The Uchiha warrior tumbled through the sky before stabilizing himself again. Meanwhile, the moon kept falling. Naruto burst out of the ocean again, breathing heavily. The Hellhound and Ten-Tails were still tearing into each other in the water nearby. But now, even they were affected by the moon's gravitational pull. The ocean itself was rising. Massive waves began climbing into the sky. Naruto looked upward again. "We're running out of time." Sasuke landed beside him. "I know." But suddenly, a familiar laugh echoed across the sky. Naruto froze. "You've got to be kidding me." The air behind Madara twisted like liquid darkness. And Alucard stepped out again. Perfectly intact. Still grinning. Madara turned slowly. "You refuse to stay erased." Alucard shrugged. "I'm stubborn." His glowing eyes looked up at the descending moon. "That's a nice trick." Madara's patience finally snapped. His chakra erupted violently. The sky itself cracked from the pressure. "You are a parasite." Alucard chuckled. "I've been called worse." Madara raised both hands. The Limbo clones attacked again. But this time, Alucard didn't dodge. He let the punches tear through his body. Blood exploded into the sky. Then the blood turned into shadows. And the shadows formed something massive behind him. Naruto stared in shock. What now? The darkness grew larger. Larger. Until something enormous stepped out of it. A towering humanoid monster made entirely of souls. Thousands of screaming faces twisted across its body. The creature stood nearly as tall as Madara's perfect Susanoo. Sasuke whispered quietly. "That's not a summon." Naruto's voice shook. "That's him." Alucard floated in front of the gigantic entity. His grin stretched wider than ever. "Allow me to introduce..." He gestured toward the colossal monster behind him. "My true army." The Soul Titan roared. The sound shook the entire ocean. Madara stared at it silently. Then he smiled. Finally, a real fight. His Susanoo erupted back into existence, towering across the sky like a purple god. Two giants now faced each other above the ocean. The Susanoo raised its enormous sword. The Soul Titan raised its monstrous claws. Naruto whispered in disbelief. "They're about to fight with giants." Sasuke's Rinnegan gleamed. Yes. The moon continued falling. The Ten-Tails continued roaring. The Hellhound continued tearing into it. And above everything, two monsters prepared to clash. Madara spoke calmly. "Let's see how deep your immortality truly goes." Alucard tipped his hat. "Let's see how big your ego really is." The Susanoo swung first. The sword crashed into the Soul Titan with cataclysmic force. The Titan caught the blade with both hands. The shockwave shattered the ocean below. Water exploded into the sky like a nuclear blast. Naruto was thrown backward again by the impact. The two titans struggled against each other, pushing with enough strength to crack the clouds apart. Then the Soul Titan roared and bit into Susanoo's arm. Madara's eyes narrowed. The giant warrior began ripping chunks out of the chakra armor. Sasuke whispered in shock. "He's damaging Susanoo." But Madara didn't panic. Instead, he looked up at the moon again, which was now terrifyingly close. Then he said something quietly. "Perfect." Naruto's stomach dropped. "What?" Madara smiled. "Because when the moon falls..." His Rinnegan glowed brighter than ever. "Everything dies." Alucard's grin widened. "Oh." He cracked his neck slowly. "Now we're talking." And the moon continued falling. Closer. 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 Until its shadow swallowed half the planet. The shadow of the moon stretched across the world like a black hand, ready to crush everything beneath it. Cities, forests, oceans, everything was bathed in a crimson twilight. The air itself quivered under the gravitational pull of the descending celestial body. Naruto hovered in the sky, golden chakra blazing violently around him. He could feel the weight of the moon tugging at his very bones. His eyes narrowed. "We're running out of time. Sasuke!" Sasuke's Rinnegan swirled as he assessed the battlefield. The Ten Tails struggled in the ocean below, the massive hellhound still tearing into it. The waves, whipped by the moon's pull, rose higher and higher, threatening to swallow continents whole. "I know, but if we intervene now, Madara will use the moon as a weapon." Sasuke's voice was tense but steady. High above them, Alucard floated effortlessly, hat tilted at a rakish angle. His grin was wider than ever, his yellow eyes gleaming like twin suns. "You boys are so dramatic." He chuckled softly. "Calm down and watch a master at work." Behind him, the Soul Titan loomed like a mountain of writhing shadows. Thousands of eyes blinked, countless mouths screamed silently, and faces of the dead twisted across its body. The sheer presence made the air feel thick and heavy, bending reality around it. Madara, meanwhile, hovered directly above the Ten Tails, his chakra blazing violently. The Rinnegan's power pulsed in rhythm with the gravitational distortion of the falling moon. He extended both arms, and the truth-seeking orbs formed into a massive black sphere. Its core glowed like a collapsing star. Alucard's grin sharpened. "Oh, that's ambitious." The vampire cracked his knuckles, the shadows around him swelling in response. The Soul Titan behind him roared, sending waves of energy cascading across the battlefield. Thousands of spectral warriors surged from its body, converging into a swirling storm that began charging toward Madara. Naruto's jaw dropped. He's literally confronting Madara while controlling an army the size of the world. Sasuke didn't answer. He only clenched his fists, observing carefully. The air around them shimmered with tension, the kind that precedes apocalyptic collisions. Madara's voice cut through the chaos. "Enough games, vampire. Step aside." Alucard tilted his head, the grin never leaving his face. "Oh, I don't think so. You want a world-ending duel? Fine, I accept." Suddenly, the gravitational pull intensified. The moon was dangerously close. The ocean waves below erupted like molten glass, smashing entire fleets of boats and sweeping massive chunks of the coastline into the sky. Naruto and Sasuke struggled to maintain altitude amidst the growing chaos. Madara raised the black sphere of truth-seeking orbs, and it began to rotate faster than light itself. Shadows spiraled around it, bending reality, as if the weapon alone could sever the planet in two. Alucard's shadow expanded exponentially. The Soul Titan roared again, and millions of souls surged toward the sphere like a tidal wave of living darkness. Naruto shouted, "Sasuke, he's going to clash with Madara." Sasuke's Susanoo formed instantly, massive purple wings spreading as he prepared to intercept. "We can't stop him, but we can survive." Then, the unimaginable happened. The Soul Titan slammed into Madara's black sphere. The impact was beyond comprehension, a collision of apocalyptic power. The shockwave spread across the entire planet. Mountains crumbled, oceans boiled, and the sky cracked. The moon's descent slowed slightly, as if recoiling from the overwhelming force. Alucard's laughter echoed across the battlefield, blending with the screams of the Ten Tails and the roaring of the ocean. Delightful. His eyes gleamed. Finally, someone, or something, worth playing with. Madara's eyes narrowed, his expression the calm mask of a genius finally challenged. "So, you are more than mere immortality." The vampire tilted his head. "You're entertaining yourself too much, Shinobi. Careful. You might break the world before I even touch you." But Madara didn't retreat. Instead, he pushed harder. The black sphere intensified, compressing space itself as it collided with the Soul Titan. The resulting explosion of energy created a temporary void in the sky, a tearing rift in reality itself. Naruto barely held on to his chakra, gripping Sasuke's arm. The clouds above them shredded like paper. Debris from shattered mountains and oceans spiraled violently upward, colliding in a storm of destruction. Then, from the rift above, Alucard's eyes shone brighter. His laughter became deafening. My army, my playground, my rules! The Soul Titan swiped at Madara, tearing through truth-seeking orbs with sheer force, sending fragments scattering across the sky like meteorites. The collision of powers shook the planet to its core. Even the Ten Tails paused, sensing something monumental unfolding. The beast's massive body quivered under the vibrations of the apocalyptic clash above. Naruto and Sasuke exchanged glances. "This isn't just a battle," Naruto whispered. "It's an extinction-level war." Alucard's grin widened as he raised both pistols. His hands glowed with crimson energy as he fired, simultaneously shooting bullets that ripped through Madara's defenses, while the Soul Titan's massive claws tore at him from above. Madara's Rinnegan flared. He countered, summoning a massive gravitational field to pull both the bullets and the Soul Titan's assault into a single concentrated strike. For a moment, time seemed to freeze. Then, the combined power exploded outward, creating a shockwave so large it shredded the clouds and boiled the oceans. Naruto and Sasuke were thrown violently across the sky, barely holding on to each other as debris rained down. Yet, in the center of it all, two figures remained unscathed. Madara, calm as ever, hovering with the black sphere orbiting him like a miniature sun. Alucard, grinning wider than ever, the Soul Titan looming behind him like an army of gods. The moon hovered precariously above, its descent now slower, but still inevitable. Alucard's laughter boomed, mixing with the groan of the oceans and the roar of the Ten Tails. "Oh, finally! Something worthy of my time." Madara's eyes narrowed. "Then prove it." And with a sudden, blinding burst of chakra, both titanic powers surged toward each other, a collision that promised to shake the Naruto world to its very core. The sky shattered. The collision of Alucard's Soul Titan and Madara's gravitational sphere erupted with blinding energy, sending shockwaves across the planet. The ocean waves below became mountains. The wind tore entire forests from their roots, and the clouds above swirled violently, ripped apart by the force of two godlike powers clashing. Naruto hovered mid-air, chakra blazing, barely able to comprehend the scale of destruction. This isn't just a fight. He swallowed hard. "The end of the world." Sasuke's Rinnegan glowed violently. "We've never seen anything like this." High above, Madara Uchiha's calm mask had slipped slightly. His chakra flared, expanding outward in a massive sphere. Gravity twisted violently around him, pulling debris, clouds, and even fragments of the ocean into a spiraling vortex. The descending moon trembled as it resisted the pull. Alucard's grin never faltered. The Soul Titan behind him roared, charging its fists with the collective energy of countless souls. Shadows whipped violently across the battlefield. Millions of spectral warriors surged through the air, merging with the Titan's energy to form an aura of terrifying magnitude. He spoke, his voice calm, yet terrifying. "Let's see if you can survive this, Shinobi." Madara's eyes narrowed. "You cannot comprehend my power." Then, the impossible happened. Alucard fired both pistols simultaneously. Jackal and Kasul glowed crimson, firing bullets that moved faster than light, weaving between the gravitational pull and tearing directly into the space around Madara. The bullets collided with the black sphere, but instead of being erased, they merged with the shadows of the Soul Titan, amplifying the impact exponentially. Naruto's jaw dropped. He's combining with his army!" Sasuke's eyes widened. "That's insane!" The force of the collision created a massive explosion that lit up the sky like a second sun. Shockwaves radiated across the planet, cracking the surface of the ocean and shattering mountains. The Ten Tails bellowed in fear, its massive form tossed violently by the shockwave, while the hellhound beneath it roared, fighting to stabilize. Madara's calm expression finally broke into a scowl. Impossible! Alucard's grin widened, almost impossibly so. His shadow energy spiraled outward, enveloping Madara and the surrounding sky in a vortex of darkness. The Soul Titan swung its massive fists, ripping into Madara's truth-seeking orbs, scattering fragments of black energy across the sky like meteors. Each strike resonated with the screams of the souls contained within, amplifying the power beyond comprehension. Naruto shouted, struggling to maintain altitude. "Sasuke, he's going all out!" Sasuke's Susanoo fired a massive lightning blast at the vortex, but it barely scratched the shadows. The scale of the battle had surpassed everything they knew. Madara, realizing he was being overwhelmed, activated his limbo clones. Invisible forms emerged, slashing through the Soul Titan, striking the shadows, attempting to regain control. But it was too late. Alucard's body emerged from the shadows, laughing, entirely unharmed. Hat tilted, guns raised, crimson energy glowing from every pore. "Careful, Shinobi. You're getting sloppy." He fired again. The bullets tore through limbo clones, obliterated truth-seeking orbs mid-flight, and sent shockwaves that shook the moon itself. The descending moon finally collided with the upper atmosphere. A chain reaction began. Its massive energy field began tearing apart the sky, sending lightning storms, volcanic eruptions, and tidal waves across the continents. The Ten Tails, still struggling, bellowed its fury. And then Alucard did the unthinkable. He merged completely with the Soul Titan. The merging pulse released a shockwave so powerful it stretched across the entire planet. The combined force of immortal vampire and countless souls eclipsed even Madara's godlike power. Madara's eyes widened in disbelief. "No! This cannot be!" Alucard's voice echoed through the storm. "Now, we fight for fun." The two titans, one of shadows and souls, the other of chakra and godly might, clashed midair with a deafening cataclysmic roar. Each strike sent shockwaves across the oceans, disintegrated clouds into cosmic dust, and warped the very fabric of reality. Naruto and Sasuke, hovering above, could only watch as the scale of the battle escalated beyond comprehension. "Everything," Naruto whispered. "It's breaking." Sasuke didn't answer. He only stared, eyes glowing. "We've never seen power like this." The moon, still partially shattered from the gravitational struggle, hovered dangerously above the battlefield. Its fragments collided with the energy ripples from the titanic clash, exploding in bursts of fire and debris that rained down like falling stars. Alucard's laughter grew louder, almost inhuman. Every movement of the Soul Titan obliterated mountains and oceans alike. Madara's calm facade cracked entirely. He unleashed a final, massive limbo technique, surrounding himself with dozens of invisible clones, each striking with overwhelming force. The Soul Titan absorbed every blow. Alucard, fully merged, cracked his neck. Crimson shadows burst outward, piercing limbo clones, tearing through the remaining truth-seeking orbs, and sending Madara spiraling through the remnants of the shattered clouds. The Ten Tails, sensing the overwhelming power, wailed. Its massive body convulsed, crashing violently into the ocean. The hellhound leaped, engaging the beast again, even as the titanic clash above continued to shake the planet's core. Alucard's grin widened. "You wanted a world-ending fight. I'll give you a show." Madara, barely holding himself together, glared upward. His voice was strained but defiant. "This world will bend to my will." Alucard tilted his head. "Oh, I like your confidence. But the world is mine now." The collision escalated further. Lightning, shadows, chakra, and raw energy collided in the sky, creating a spectacle that could be seen from space. The moon, fragments of mountains, and tidal waves became insignificant compared to the raw magnitude of the godlike clash. And in the eye of the storm, the two titans, Madara's godly Susanoo and Alucard's merged soul titan, stared each other down. Everything trembled. And then, Alucard smiled wider than ever. Now, let's end the first act. The sky had turned black. The horizon was gone. The oceans boiled. The continents shook. The air itself screamed under the weight of the battle above. Every inch of the Naruto world trembled as Alucard and Madara Uchiha continued their apocalyptic clash. Alucard hovered mid-air, merged fully with the colossal Soul Titan. Shadows swirled around him like living storms. His crimson energy pulsated in waves, sending shockwaves that shattered clouds, mountains, and even islands across the battlefield. Madara, perched atop his towering Susanoo, glared upward. His Rinnegan glowed brighter than ever. His limbo clones swirled around him like a storm of invisible knives, striking endlessly. But the Soul Titan absorbed every blow with ease. Naruto, floating nearby with golden chakra blazing, barely caught his breath. This isn't just a fight," he muttered. "It's a planet-level disaster." Sasuke's Rinnegan tracked every movement with precision. He's not just fighting Madara. He's rewriting reality itself. The 10 tails bellowed from the ocean below, thrashing violently as the Hellhound, still under Alucard's command, grappled with it. Massive tidal waves reached the sky, merging with debris from shattered mountains, creating a storm that tore across the continents. Alucard's laughter cut through the chaos. "You think this is scary? This is just the opening act." He slammed the Soul Titan's massive fists into the Susanoo with explosive force. The impact reverberated across the sky, clouds ripped apart, shockwaves flattened entire mountain ranges. The collision sent Madara spinning through the air. Madara's expression, calm for centuries, finally showed strain. He gathered his chakra, forming an enormous truth-seeking orb spear, black as night, glowing with godlike energy. "You cannot comprehend my power," he growled. "This world bends to me." Alucard tilted his head. "Oh, I comprehend perfectly, which is why I'm about to crush it." He fired both pistols simultaneously. Jackal and Kasul exploded with crimson energy, tearing through the black spear before it even formed fully. The bullets moved faster than the eye could follow, piercing limbo clones, shattering truth-seeking orbs, and colliding with Susanoo's armor. Sparks of chakra erupted in every direction. Naruto shouted from mid-air, barely maintaining focus. He's fighting on a level beyond anything we've ever seen." Sasuke's voice was tight. "We have to survive. That's all we can do." The Soul Titan, controlled perfectly by Alucard, swung its colossal arms, slamming into Susanoo. The clash created a shockwave so immense that even the moon trembled. Pieces of lunar rock fell like meteors toward the planet, igniting the atmosphere in blinding fire. The 10 tails' massive form struggled below, its tails whipping violently as it roared in fury. The Hellhound responded immediately, striking with savage precision, tearing chunks from the beast's body. Alucard's grin widened. Perfect. He hovered above, hat tilted, guns glowing. His eyes gleamed with the thrill of combat. Finally, a challenge worth my attention. Madara's eyes narrowed. He raised both arms, summoning hundreds of limbo clones simultaneously. Each clone swung massive fists toward the Soul Titan. Alucard didn't flinch. The shadows absorbed the attacks seamlessly, the Titan shrugging off strikes that could level a continent. Naruto's jaw dropped. "He's tanking Madara's attacks, all of them!" Sasuke whispered, eyes glowing. "This is insane. He's on a god-tier level now. The Soul Titan grabbed Susanu's sword with its massive hands and ripped it apart. The shockwave sent Madara flying backward, scattering his limbo clones like paper in a storm. But Madara recovered instantly. Floating mid-air, chakra swirling violently around him, he grinned. Persistent. I like that. Alucard tilted his head. You talk too much. The Soul Titan slammed its fists into Madara's chest. The force sent the Uchiha spinning through the clouds. Pieces of Susanoo shattered under the impact, raining down toward the planet below. The moon creaked ominously. Gravity itself warped, pulling oceans and forests upward in a surreal apocalyptic spiral. The Ten-Tails shrieked, sensing the overwhelming clash above. Alucard stepped forward, detached, calm amid the chaos. Do you feel it yet? The sheer fun of this? Madara rose from the clouds, aura blazing like a collapsing star. You are dangerous, even for me. Alucard's grin widened. And you're finally interesting. That's why I came. The Soul Titan leaped. Its shadowy limbs tore across the sky, aiming directly at Madara's chest. Limbo clones intercepted, fists colliding with claws in bursts of explosive energy. The collision created a new shockwave, this one so powerful it shredded the ocean surface below. Waves rose like walls of water, crashing against floating fragments of islands, throwing debris hundreds of miles into the sky. Naruto shouted over the roar, "This is insane! The planet!" The Hellhound leaped again, striking the Ten-Tails with bone-crushing force. The beast howled, spinning, thrashing, trying to fight against both Alucard's army above and the Hellhound below. Alucard's eyes gleamed with excitement. Finally! Chaos on a scale I can enjoy. Madara clenched his fists. His chakra spiraled outward, forming a massive black sphere larger than the Soul Titan itself. Gravity twisted violently around it. Alucard laughed. His voice boomed across the storm. Oh, I love this part! He fired both the pistols once more. Crimson bullets collided with the black sphere, tearing chunks of energy apart, scattering limbo clones in the blast. The collision sent shockwaves even toward the edges of the world. The Soul Titan roared, lifting Susanoo fragments and hurling them at Madara like missiles. The Uchiha's face hardened. For the first time, a shadow of concern flickered across his features. Naruto's heart pounded in his chest. If they keep going, the planet... Sasuke's voice was low, urgent. We might not survive this, but it's the only chance. Above, Alucard's laughter reached a terrifying pitch. The Soul Titan slammed into Madara's massive chakra sphere, the collision erupting in a blinding explosion that illuminated the entire Naruto world. The shockwave tore across continents. The ocean boiled. The sky split. Lightning streaked violently in every direction. And in the middle of the chaos, Alucard grinned, fully merged, his eyes glowing like twin suns. Now, let's see who the real monster is. The explosion had barely faded when the world quaked again. Smoke and debris churned violently across the oceans and continents. The collision between Alucard's Soul Titan and Madara's black sphere had left an ominous crack in the sky itself, like reality itself was splitting under their power. Naruto hovered above the chaos, golden chakra blazing in waves. His heart pounded against his chest as he watched the aftermath. It's worse than I imagined, he muttered. Sasuke's Rinnegan swirled violently, analyzing the battlefield. It's beyond anything we've ever fought. If Alucard can maintain control, he might actually stand a chance. Below, the Ten-Tails roared, thrashing against the Hellhound's relentless attacks. The ocean rose like molten glass, splashing fragments of islands into the sky. Waves collided with debris from shattered mountains and forests, creating a maelstrom that twisted the very air. Madara hovered mid-air above the chaos, surrounded by the remnants of his Susanoo and hundreds of limbo clones. His Rinnegan flared violently, as he assessed Alucard's soul titan. The vampire grinned back, hat tilted, crimson eyes gleaming. "You've grown stronger," Madara said, voice low but cutting. "But I'm not finished yet." Alucard's laughter echoed across the storm. "I was hoping you'd say that." The Soul Titan raised both fists, creating shockwaves that tore through the sky. Each strike sent remnants of Susanoo and shattered clouds plummeting toward the planet below. The moon's fragments trembled, still suspended precariously, caught between the gravitational pull of the planet and the overwhelming energy radiating from the clash above. Naruto clenched his fists. "If the moon falls now..." Sasuke's voice was grim. "The world ends." Madara's lips curled into a subtle, sinister grin. "Then let's finish this." He raised both hands, summoning an even larger array of truth-seeking orbs, each glowing with energy dense enough to erase entire landscapes. The orbs began rotating, forming a massive black corona around him. The gravitational field intensified, pulling fragments of the moon and debris from the world below into a whirling spiral of destruction. Alucard tilted his head, unfazed. "Oh? You're really turning it up, huh?" The Soul Titan extended its colossal hands and smashed into the black corona. The impact shattered several truth-seeking orbs instantly. The resulting shockwave tore apart clouds and ripped through the ocean like a knife through silk. Madara narrowed his eyes, anger flickering across his face for the first time. "Impossible! How can a single entity absorb this power?" Alucard's grin widened. "Single entity? I think you've underestimated me." The Soul Titan roared, unleashing waves of shadow energy that tore through the sky. Each movement distorted space, twisting reality around it. Limbo clones collided with the Titan, only to vanish, absorbed into the shadows. Below, the 10 tails struggled. Its massive tails whipped violently, smashing through the ocean, trying to escape the catastrophic energy surging above. The Hellhound responded, tearing into the beast with renewed ferocity, sending it crashing into the shattered coastline. Naruto shouted, "Alucard! You're actually holding him off!" Alucard's laughter boomed. "Of course, but fun is only fun if it's dangerous, right?" Madara's voice grew sharp. "You think you can stop me? I am godhood incarnate." The black sphere around him exploded outward, sending ripples of gravitational force through the battlefield. Mountains crumbled, oceans rose hundreds of meters into the sky, forests disintegrated in the storm. The moon trembled, fragments beginning to collide with each other, creating a cascade of celestial destruction. Alucard cracked his neck. "Godhood! Cute title. Let's see if you can handle this." The Soul Titan's eyes blazed. Its body surged with energy, now clearly larger than Madara's Susanoo, shadows erupting from its massive form in streams of living darkness. The Titan's fists smashed through the remaining orbs, each strike creating shockwaves that rippled across continents and oceans. Madara's face hardened, the first sign of worry flashing in his eyes. His limbo clones lunged simultaneously, invisible attacks striking the Titan from every angle, but the shadows absorbed and reflected every assault. Alucard laughed, his voice carrying across the storm. "Oh, I do love it when things get interesting." The moon fragments above began colliding violently with each other, creating meteors that rained down across the oceans and land below. Lightning ripped across the sky, drawn toward the energy surges from the vampire and the Uchiha. Naruto and Sasuke struggled to maintain altitude, their chakra flaring in bursts of desperation. Sakura, landing atop a massive shard of rock, watched in awe. "He's unstoppable." Alucard's grin widened further. "Oh, don't worry, little lady, the fun is just beginning." With a casual flick, he sent a wave of shadow energy toward Madara, forcing the Uchiha to stagger back, barely maintaining control of the gravitational sphere. The Soul Titan lunged, slamming its massive fists into Susanoo, shattering it completely. The sky seemed to collapse under the force. Waves of energy radiated outward, ripping clouds, splintering the oceans, and sending fragments of the moon crashing violently toward the planet. Madara's voice was strained, desperate. "No, you cannot!" Alucard interrupted with a grin. "Oh, I can, and I will." With a single motion, the Soul Titan's fists clashed with Madara's gravitational sphere again. The resulting explosion illuminated the entire sky in crimson light, dwarfing the sun. Naruto gasped. This isn't just a fight, this is—" Sasuke's voice cut through, grim and taut. "The world-breaking power of a true immortal!" The Ten-Tails shrieked, sensing the overwhelming energies. Its massive body crashed violently into the ocean. The Hellhound leaped after it, biting with claws that tore reality asunder. And above all of it, Alucard floated mid-air, his hat tilted, guns glowing crimson, merged fully with the Soul Titan, and grinning wider than ever. "Let's finish this act with a bang," he said, eyes gleaming. The shockwave of their next clash promised to redefine the Naruto world forever. The sky was ablaze. The clash between Alucard's Soul Titan and Madara's gravitational sphere had ripped the atmosphere into ribbons of fire and lightning. The clouds above churned violently, torn apart by winds faster than the speed of sound. Below, the oceans boiled and hurled massive chunks of debris into the sky. Even the Ten-Tails, thrashing desperately against the Hellhound, trembled at the intensity radiating from above. Alucard hovered calmly, hat tilted, crimson eyes glinting with amusement. His Soul Titan towered like a dark god above the chaos, fists pulsing with energy. Shadows from his body spilled outward in twisting streams, consuming the remnants of clouds, sky, and even fragments of the moon. Madara, seated atop what remained of his Susanoo, glared upward. His Rinnegan swirled, tracking every movement of the vampire and the Titan. The gravitational field around him twisted violently, pulling debris, ocean waves, and even fragments of the moon into a swirling vortex of destructive force. "You are persistent," Madara said, his voice strained. "But persistence alone won't save you." Alucard's grin widened. "Persistence? No, this is artistry. Chaos is my masterpiece." The Soul Titan slammed both fists into Madara's massive gravitational sphere. The impact sent shockwaves radiating across the planet. Mountains crumbled. Oceans rose in towering waves. The moon trembled, fragments colliding violently, creating showers of meteors that ignited the sky. Naruto's golden chakra flared as he struggled to maintain altitude. "Sasuke, he's actually holding him off." Sasuke's eyes glowed. "Not just holding him, he's dominating." The vampire's laughter echoed across the battlefield, merging with the roar of the Ten-Tails and the Hellhound below. Shadows swirled, forming tendrils that struck Madara, tearing through his defenses. Limbo clones lunged in an attempt to counterattack, but each was obliterated instantly by the overwhelming darkness. Madara's expression darkened. "This cannot be." Alucard tilted his head, calm and mocking. "Cannot be? Oh, it's happening, and it's magnificent." He fired Jackal and Kasul simultaneously, bullets glowing crimson as they moved faster than light. The rounds tore through Madara's remaining truth-seeking orbs, scattering Limbo clones and creating shockwaves that shook the moon fragments themselves. The Soul Titan's massive hands grabbed Susanoo fragments and hurled them like missiles. Madara barely deflected them with a surge of chakra, but the force of the assault sent him tumbling through the clouds. Above, the moon's fragments were colliding in midair, exploding violently, sending showers of celestial debris raining down on the oceans and lands below. Lightning arced through the sky, drawn toward the chaotic energy of Alucard and Madara. Naruto shouted, The planet! It's breaking apart! Sasuke's voice was grim. We can't stop it. But we have to survive. Alucard's grin widened as he stepped forward, merging further with the Soul Titan. Shadows coalesced into hundreds of spectral warriors, all moving in perfect unison. They swarmed toward Madara, tearing through the vortex of gravitational energy he had created. The Uchiha's eyes narrowed. His chakra flared violently, forming a massive black spear, spinning faster than the eye could follow. He hurled it directly at the Soul Titan. Alucard tilted his head, amused. Really? That's the best you've got? The Soul Titan caught the spear mid-air, absorbing its energy into the swirling shadows. The resulting explosion sent shockwaves across continents, flattening islands and tossing ocean waves hundreds of meters high. Madara's face darkened. Impossible. No one can withstand this. Alucard's voice was calm, almost playful. I've been called worse. The Soul Titan swung its massive fist, slamming into the gravitational sphere. The collision ripped open a tear in the sky, exposing the edge of space itself. Stars flickered, meteor showers ignited, and the fragments of the moon began crashing violently into one another. The Ten Tails below howled, sensing the overwhelming energies. The Hellhound struck again, biting and tearing at the massive beast, even as waves of energy from the Titan and the vampires above tore across the oceans. Naruto's golden chakra flared in desperation. Alucard! You're insane! The vampire laughed. Insane? No, I'm liberated. And this is the most fun I've had in centuries. Madara's limbo clones lunged again, striking from all directions. The Soul Titan absorbed each strike, the shadows feeding on the energy, growing larger and stronger with every attack. Finally, Alucard raised both pistols, crimson energy flaring brighter than the sun. He fired in a perfect, synchronized rhythm. Each bullet collided with limbo clones and fragments of truth-seeking orbs, obliterating them instantly. The impact sent Madara spinning backward. The gravitational sphere around him flickered violently, threatening to collapse. Alucard floated above, calm and smiling, watching the chaos unfold. You wanted to play God. Now you get to dance with one. The collision of their powers sent a massive shockwave toward the continents below. Forests, mountains, and oceans shook violently. The Ten Tails screamed, thrashing as the Hellhound struck with relentless precision. The moon fragments hung in the sky, trembling as the massive forces above distorted gravity itself. The air shimmered with heat, energy, and raw chaos. Alucard's grin stretched impossibly wide. Oh, this is perfect. The perfect stage for the finale. Madara's eyes narrowed, a flicker of fear crossing his face for the first time. The clash was far from over, but one thing was clear. The balance of power had shifted. And in the eye of the storm, Alucard and his Soul Titan loomed over the world like living apocalypse, preparing for the next move. The sky split open. The clash between Alucard's Soul Titan and Madara's gravitational sphere had escalated beyond anything the Naruto world had ever witnessed. Clouds had been shredded into ribbons of fire and shadow, oceans boiled into towering columns of water, and fragments of the moon collided above in a celestial storm, igniting the sky in white-hot explosions. Alucard hovered mid-air, merged fully with the Soul Titan. Crimson energy pulsed from his body in massive waves, each pulse bending the air and warping the battlefield below. Shadows spilled outward, devouring everything they touched, twisting reality with each breath of power. Madara glared up at him, Rinnegan spinning violently. Limbo clones surged forward like a swarm of invisible assassins, striking simultaneously, attempting to tear the Titan apart. Alucard tilted his head, unfazed. Really? That's all you've got? The Soul Titan's massive hand swiped through the Limbo clones effortlessly. Each strike obliterated them, sending shockwaves that tore across the continents below. Mountains crumbled, forests exploded into flames, and ocean waves hurled fragments of land into the sky. Naruto hovered nearby, golden chakra blazing, watching in awe. Sasuke, he's completely dominating. Sasuke's Rinnegan glowed, his gaze locked on the chaos above. He's controlling the battlefield. Even Madara can't keep up. Madara's voice cut through the storm, calm yet edged with fury. You are dangerous, beyond comprehension. Alucard's grin widened. Dangerous? No, I'm fun, and I've only just started. The Soul Titan raised both fists, swinging with cataclysmic force. Each strike collided with Madara's massive gravitational sphere. The resulting explosion ripped open the sky, exposing the edge of space itself. Stars flickered as if frightened by the sheer magnitude of power. The moon fragments collided violently, meteors raining down across the oceans and continents. The Ten-Tails shrieked, thrashing as the Hellhound bit into it with unmatched ferocity. Massive tidal waves crashed against the shorelines, sweeping islands and debris into the air. Alucard's voice boomed across the battlefield. Let's see how you handle this. He fired Jackal and Kasul in perfect synchronization. The bullets, glowing crimson, tore through Madara's remaining truth-seeking orbs, scattering fragments across the sky. Limbo clones that had survived were obliterated instantly. The Soul Titan lunged, slamming its massive fists into Madara. The collision sent shockwaves so powerful that even Naruto and Sasuke were thrown backward by the force. Debris from shattered clouds and shattered ocean waves swirled violently around them. Madara's face hardened. His aura flared as he summoned even more Limbo clones, each moving faster than the eye could follow. He thrust a massive spear of gravitational energy at the Soul Titan, aiming to pierce through its heart. Alucard tilted his head, amused. A spear? Really? That's your god-level trick. The Soul Titan absorbed the energy effortlessly. Shadows spiraled outward, devouring the spear and converting its power into raw strength. The impact sent Madara staggering backward, struggling to maintain control of the gravitational field around him. Naruto's eyes widened. He's absorbing Madara's attacks? Sasuke whispered grimly. He's feeding on them. The Soul Titan roared, its energy erupting outward. Mountains disintegrated, oceans boiled. The sky shattered further as fragments of the moon collided above, igniting massive fires across the world. Alucard's grin widened impossibly. You wanted a fight, Shinobi? This is the stage, and I am the finale. Madara's eyes narrowed. He concentrated all remaining energy into a massive gravitational implosion, drawing every fragment of the moon, every piece of Susanoo, and every Limbo clone toward a single point. Alucard tilted his head, calm and almost playful. Oh, I see. Going for dramatic effect. The Soul Titan lunged directly into the center of the implosion, absorbing the chaotic forces with its shadows. The resulting explosion of energy lit up the sky like a second sun. Shockwaves ripped across the continents, sending mountains, forests, and oceans into the air. The Ten-Tails shrieked, struggling beneath the immense gravity distortions as the Hellhound tore through its massive body. Naruto and Sasuke held on desperately, watching as the epic confrontation above reached an unprecedented scale. Alucard floated above, merged with the Soul Titan, grinning wider than ever. This is a kind of chaos. Madara, barely holding his ground, scowled. Impossible. I am Madara Uchiha. Nothing should surpass me. Alucard's laughter boomed, carrying across the storm. Oh, Madara, you're about to learn the difference between godhood and eternity. The collision above created a shockwave that distorted reality itself. The moon's fragments spun violently, smashing into each other and raining down like fire upon the oceans and lands. The clouds above ripped apart, exposing space to the tumultuous energy below. The stage was set for the ultimate confrontation. Shadows, chakra, and celestial energy collided in waves of destruction. Alucard raised both pistols once more, crimson bullets glowing brighter than the sun. He fired, perfectly synchronized with the Soul Titan's massive fists. The impact tore through Madara's remaining defenses, shattering limbo clones and scattering truth-seeking orbs across the sky. The entire world trembled. Every ocean, every forest, every mountain, every city was caught in the fallout of the titanic battle. Naruto whispered, barely audible over the roar, This is beyond anything we've ever faced." Sasuke's voice was taut. "And we're still alive to watch it." Alucard's eyes glinted with the thrill of battle. "Now, let's end this act with a bang." The shockwave of their next strike promised to reshape the Naruto world forever. The sky tore open like paper. The collision between Alucard's Soul Titan and Madara's gravitational sphere had reached its peak. Energy radiated outward in blinding crimson and black waves, fracturing clouds, vaporizing forests, and sending mountains crashing into the oceans. Even the fragments of the moon above collided violently, igniting showers of celestial fire. Alucard hovered mid-air, fully merged with the Soul Titan. His hat tilted, guns glowing with lethal crimson energy, eyes burning like twin suns. Shadows swirled violently around him, writhing and twisting, absorbing every strike Madara launched. Madara floated in the eye of the storm, Rinnegan spinning furiously. Limbo clones erupted from every direction, invisible and deadly, each striking with the force to crush continents. The massive gravitational sphere around him pulsed, threatening to collapse the world beneath. "You are beyond anything I anticipated," Madara admitted, voice strained but resolute. "But I am the god of this world." Alucard tilted his head, grinning impossibly wide. Gods are fun to play with, until they realize the game's already lost. The Soul Titan lunged, fists crashing into Madara's sphere with cataclysmic force. The impact unleashed an explosion so massive it shattered the clouds, boiled the oceans, and warped gravity itself. The moon fragments spun wildly, colliding with each other, raining down meteors that ignited continents. Naruto hovered nearby, golden chakra flaring violently. "Sasuke, this is insane. He's overpowering Madara." Sasuke's Rinnegan glowed fiercely. "He's not just overpowering him. He's rewriting the battlefield entirely." The Ten-Tails roared in fury, thrashing as the Hellhound tore into it. Massive tidal waves and fragments of debris hurled into the sky, mixing with the chaos above. The collision of Alucard and Madara's energies shook the very core of the planet. Alucard's laughter echoed, terrifying in its clarity. "Now let's finish this, shinobi." He fired Jackal and Kasul in a deadly synchronized rhythm. Crimson bullets tore through the remaining limbo clones and truth-seeking orbs. The energy struck Madara directly, destabilizing his gravitational sphere. Madara's eyes widened in disbelief. "Impossible! How?" The Soul Titan's colossal fists slammed into the sphere again. The resulting explosion of energy ripped a hole in the sky, exposing the stars beyond. Reality warped around them, shaking entire continents. Alucard's grin stretched impossibly wide. "Oh, I love this part. Watch closely. This is how eternity plays." Madara gathered every ounce of chakra he had into a final massive gravitational implosion, pulling debris, ocean, fragments of the moon, and even limbo clones toward a single point. The force threatened to collapse the entire planet into itself. The Soul Titan surged forward, merging with Alucard fully. Shadows expanded, absorbing the chaotic energies of Madara's implosion. Each impact fed Alucard's strength, amplifying him beyond any mortal, or even immortal, measure. Naruto shouted, barely able to stay aloft. If they collide now, the world, Sasuke's voice cut sharply, might not survive the shockwave. The collision was inevitable. The Soul Titan's fists collided with Madara's implosion at the same time, producing a blinding explosion that lit up the entire sky like a second sun. Shockwaves radiated outward, disintegrating mountains, vaporizing forests, and tossing massive waves of ocean into the sky. The moon fragments collided violently above, sending fire raining down across the world. The Ten Tails shrieked violently, thrashing helplessly under the apocalyptic energy. The Hellhound lunged, tearing through the creature with precise, bone-crushing force. Alucard hovered above it all, laughter echoing across the storm. There! The world is my stage. And now, the final curtain. Madara, barely keeping his composure, glared at the vampire. This cannot be. Alucard's crimson eyes glinted. Oh, it can. And it will. The Soul Titan slammed its fists into the core of the gravitational implosion one last time. The shockwave engulfed the entire battlefield, radiating so much energy that continents cracked, oceans boiled, and even the atmosphere above quaked. The collision tore a massive rift in the sky, and reality itself seemed to scream under the force. For a heartbeat, silence fell. The storm paused. Even the Ten Tails froze mid-thrash. The world seemed suspended in the aftermath of impossible power. Then Alucard stepped forward, hat tilted, guns raised, crimson energy still blazing. His grin never faltered. Madara lay floating, battered and bruised, his limbo clones destroyed, truth-seeking orbs shattered, and his godlike defenses completely dismantled. His Rinnegan swirled weakly, a shadow of the fear he had never known. Alucard tilted his head, calm and almost casual. I said, eternity always wins. Naruto and Sasuke hovered nearby, eyes wide, mouths agape. Even centuries of shinobi legends could not have prepared them for what they had just witnessed. The Hellhound snarled, standing victorious over the broken Ten Tails. The oceans churned violently, but the worst of the chaos had passed. Alucard's laughter echoed across the shattered world. Shadows receded, leaving devastation in their wake. Mountains were reduced to rubble, forests annihilated, and oceans littered with debris. Yet the vampire floated above it all, untouched, untouchable, victorious. The world had survived, but it would never be the same. Alucard's grin widened, crimson eyes gleaming. Fun's over for now. But don't worry, Shinobi. This is only the beginning. The sky cracked ominously as his shadow slowly dissipated. The remnants of the moon hung precariously in the distance. The oceans roiled, and the battlefield was scarred beyond recognition. Naruto exhaled, golden chakra flickering. He's a force of nature. Sasuke's voice was low, wary. No, he's beyond nature. And above the shattered world, Alucard's laughter lingered, a promise of chaos, immortality, and shadows yet to come. The first act of apocalypse was complete. The world was broken, but not yet defeated. The oceans churned violently, sending mountains of water hurtling into the sky. The shattered moon fragments rained down like fire, igniting explosions across the continents. Forests, once lush, were now ash and ruin. The air itself shimmered with residual energy from the clash between Alucard's Soul Titan and Madara's godlike powers. Alucard hovered above the chaos, crimson eyes glinting, hat tilted at a rakish angle. His Shadow Titan's form towered behind him, the pulsating aura of countless absorbed souls radiating like a storm of darkness. Even in the eye of devastation, his grin remained, wide, unnerving, eternal. Delicious, he whispered, voice carrying across the shattered landscape. The world is alive, screaming, begging for me to play. Below, Naruto hovered mid-air, exhausted, golden chakra flaring like a beacon of fragile hope. His cloak of Ninetales chakra flickered as he surveyed the devastation. "Sasuke," he gasped, voice trembling. We survived. But how do we fight someone like that?" Sasuke's eyes glowed, Rinnegan scanning the horizon. "We can't fight him like a normal enemy. He's not just powerful, he's reality warping. He's something else entirely." The Ten Tails, battered and bleeding from the Hellhound's relentless assault, thrashed violently across the oceans. Its shrieks echoed across the shattered world. The Hellhound leapt again, locking its jaws into the beast, shaking it violently. Each strike sent shockwaves through the air, yet it was still clear that the Ten Tails was only a fraction of the battlefield's chaos. Alucard's Shadow Titan moved with terrifying grace. Its massive hands reached downward, manipulating fragments of mountains and debris like toys, launching them across the battlefield. Crimson energy pulsed from every strike, disintegrating islands, forests, and rivers with lethal precision. Naruto clenched his fists. We can't even scratch him." Sasuke's voice was low, unwavering. "We'll need a plan. Something beyond jutsu. Beyond power." Alucard's laugh echoed across the ruins. "Oh, I love the desperation. Keep trying, Shinobi. It makes it so much more fun." From above, Madara's shattered remains hovered in the air. His limbo clones had been destroyed. Truth-seeking orbs lay scattered across the sky. His chakra burned weakly, his godlike aura flickering under Alucard's oppressive presence. Madara's voice, strained but proud, echoed in the chaos. "Even in defeat, I am not broken. The world is mine to conquer." Alucard's crimson eyes glinted, the grin spreading impossibly wider. "Conquered? No, this world belongs to me now. And it's only the beginning." The Soul Titan extended its massive hand, plucking a fragment of the moon from the sky. The fragment glowed crimson as shadows twisted around it, merging it into Alucard's energy. The act alone sent shockwaves across the remaining oceans and shattered continents. Naruto's jaw dropped. "He's absorbing even the moon." Sasuke's voice was taut, calculating. "If he keeps absorbing, there won't be a world left." The Ten Tails howled again, thrashing under the combined assault. The Hellhound, relentless, leapt into the air, striking the beast with bone-crushing force. Yet even the Ten Tails, a creature of massive chakra and devastating strength, could not challenge the overwhelming presence of the vampire's titan. Alucard's voice cut across the battlefield, calm yet terrifying. "I've played with monsters, gods, and immortals. But you, Shinobi, you are delightful." The Soul Titan's crimson aura flared violently. Shadows twisted into hundreds of spectral warriors, all moving in perfect unison, surrounding Madara's floating form and tearing at the remaining fragments of his chakra. Madara's eyes narrowed. He raised his hands, attempting one final gravitational attack, but the Shadow Army consumed the energy before it even formed. Each spectral warrior struck with impossible speed, tearing apart what little defense Madara had left. Naruto clenched his fists tighter, Ninetales chakra blazing brighter than ever. "We have to do something. We cannot let him take everything." Sasuke's eyes glowed, calculating a strategy with precision. "We might survive, Naruto, but we can't fight him head-on. Not yet. Not like this." Alucard's grin widened impossibly, crimson eyes glinting with malice and amusement. "Oh, don't worry, Shinobi. The best part is coming. The final act." The shadows of the Titan coalesced, merging into a massive, swirling maelstrom of darkness that stretched across the horizon. Mountains, oceans, and clouds were pulled into the vortex as the world itself seemed to bend under the sheer presence of the vampire. Even the Ten Tails, caught in the pull of such unimaginable force, screeched in terror. The Hellhound, relentless, lunged again, trying to stabilize the battlefield. Alucard's crimson eyes locked on the horizon. This is where the world truly begins to break. The first tremors of the final apocalyptic wave spread across the lands. The skies above, torn and jagged, crackled with energy. Rivers boiled, forests evaporated, and even the remnants of cities were tossed like leaves into the swirling storm. Alucard's laughter echoed across the world, a sound both beautiful and terrifying. The stage was set. The final confrontation, the ultimate clash between the vampire of eternity and the shinobi of fate, was about to begin. The horizon collapsed. Cracks of red lightning slashed through the shattered sky as the world trembled under the weight of Alucard's shadow titan. Every continent shook. Oceans boiled violently, tossing debris like ragdolls into the air. Even fragments of the moon, caught in the chaos, collided in flaming explosions that lit the stormy sky like multiple suns. Alucard hovered above it all, hat tilted, crimson eyes glinting with malice and amusement. His shadow titan's form loomed impossibly tall, pulsing with energy drawn from every fragment of destruction he had absorbed. The swirling darkness around him was alive, twisting, writhing, and whispering with the voices of countless absorbed souls. Naruto, floating nearby, golden chakra flaring, clenched his fists. "We've never seen power like this. Sasuke, he's rewriting reality." Sasuke's Rinnegan scanned the battlefield, his jaw tight. He's no longer bound by normal laws of power or chakra. Every move he makes destroys and creates at the same time. Below, the Ten Tails roared violently, thrashing against the Hellhound. The beast's massive tail smashed waves into the horizon, sending islands and forests flying into the air. The Hellhound, undeterred, struck again and again, each attack tearing through the colossal monster with bone-crushing force. Yet even this legendary creature could not match the titanic forces above. Alucard's laughter echoed across the world, blending with the roar of the ocean and the shrieks of the Ten Tails. The chaos, the destruction, the fun. I can feel it all at once. He raised his guns, Jackal and Kasul, firing in perfect rhythm. Crimson rounds streaked across the sky, obliterating what remained of Madara's fragmented chakra and the last stubborn limbo clones. Madara hovered weakly in the distance, bruised, battered, and barely conscious. His limbo clones lay scattered, his Susanoo shattered, and his chakra nearly spent. But even in this state, his pride and defiance burned in his Rinnegan. "You cannot comprehend my power," he gasped, voice strained but venomous. Alucard's grin widened. "Oh, I comprehend it perfectly. That's why I'm here, to play with it." The Soul Titan's shadowy form surged, extending its massive hands. Mountains, rivers, and fragments of cities were hurled toward the remaining gravitational distortions Madara attempted to summon. The sheer scale of force bent reality itself. The sky above split, revealing space, stars, and the burning shards of the moon colliding endlessly. Naruto's voice trembled with awe. He's not just fighting. He's absorbing everything, turning the chaos into himself. Sasuke's eyes narrowed. Every strike he takes, he grows stronger, and every attack he counters, the world itself bends around him. Alucard's laughter rang like a bell of doom across the continents. "Now, Shinobi, let's see if you can keep up." The Shadow Titan surged forward, colliding directly with the gravitational anomalies Madara tried to manipulate. Explosions of energy shattered the ocean below, sending massive tidal waves upward. Debris from destroyed forests, mountains, and islands became projectiles hurled across the sky. The moon fragments collided violently, igniting fires across the horizon. Madara's energy faltered. His voice, though still proud, carried the first note of fear. How can one exist like this? Impossible." Alucard's grin stretched impossibly wide. Impossible? No, Madara. You just underestimated what eternity can do. The Soul Titan extended its massive arms, forming a barrier of shadows around the surviving continents. With a single sweep, he repelled Madara's remaining chakra attacks. The impact fractured the oceans, splitting continents in some places and creating massive chasms in others. The Ten Tails roared once more, sensing the overwhelming power. Its massive body crashed violently into the ocean, attempting to escape the gravitational pull and shockwaves radiating from above. The Hellhound lunged, ripping into it with devastating force. Waves of water and energy collided violently, adding to the already cataclysmic chaos. Alucard's crimson eyes glimmered with excitement. Perfect. The chaos feeds me, and the world bends to my will. I am alive in ways you cannot imagine. Naruto hovered, golden chakra blazing brighter than ever. We can't fight him, not with normal attacks. We'd be obliterated instantly. Sasuke's voice was calm but determined. We need strategy, not power. Precision. If he can bend reality, we must exploit that. Look for weaknesses in his rhythm, in his control. Alucard's laughter echoed louder, reverberating in every crumbling canyon and shattered ocean. Shinobi, you're fun, but I grow tired of waiting. The Shadow Titan's form twisted, merging all absorbed energies into one colossal, spinning mass of living darkness. Mountains, oceans, and clouds were drawn in, shredded, and reformed into extensions of the Titan itself. Even Madara, at the height of his godlike arrogance, flinched as the magnitude of Alucard's control over the battlefield became undeniable. Alucard hovered above the maelstrom, guns raised, shadow energies pulsing in a rhythm that bent reality. Time to end the act! The first tremors of the final apocalyptic wave spread across the land. The oceans boiled, lightning tore the sky apart, and rivers turned to steam. Forests and remaining settlements were swept away in the Shadow Titan's wake. Naruto's chakra flared desperately, Sasuke's Rinnegan scanning for the tiniest opening. But even they understood. This was beyond survival. This was witnessing eternity incarnate. Alucard's crimson eyes glinted. The stage is ready. The world is mine to mold, and your legends will crumble before me. The air shimmered with heat, energy, and pure chaos. The final confrontation, the ultimate test of Shinobi against Immortal, was about to escalate to an unimaginable climax. The world trembled beneath the weight of Alucard's shadow. Mountains crumbled into the oceans. Cities were reduced to ash before the storm of energy radiating from the Soul Titan. Even fragments of the moon collided violently above, sending fire raining down in a hellish cascade. Lightning split the sky, drawn toward the swirling vortex of shadows that Alucard controlled. Alucard hovered calmly above it all, crimson eyes glowing, guns in hand. His Shadow Titan's massive form expanded like a living apocalypse, absorbing every fragment of chaos and destruction in its orbit. The air itself seemed to bow to him, crackling with energy as gravity twisted violently under his influence. Naruto hovered beside Sasuke, chakra flaring wildly. This is no ordinary fight. He's bending reality itself. Sasuke's eyes glowed with determination, scanning the battlefield. He's absorbing everything, every attack, every shockwave, every fragment of the world, feeding himself, growing stronger. The Ten Tails screamed violently, thrashing against the Hellhound. Each strike sent tidal waves smashing into continents. Yet even this monster was dwarfed by the scale of the war raging above. Alucard laughed, his voice a booming echo of malice and exhilaration. Delightful. Everything bends to me now. Chaos is my playground, and the world is my toy. From the shattered remains of Madara's body, the Uchiha glared upward, pride and fury burning in his weakened Rinnegan. Though nearly defeated, he raised his hands one last time, attempting to form a massive gravitational implosion. "You cannot comprehend," Madara growled, voice strained. "I am eternal." Alucard's grin widened impossibly. "Comprehend? Oh, I don't just comprehend, Madara. I am eternal." The Shadow Titan surged forward, colliding with Madara's implosion. The energy erupted in a cataclysmic explosion that lit the sky like a second sun. Shockwaves tore across oceans, continents, and remaining forests. The moon fragments collided violently, creating showers of fire that rained down across the world. Naruto's golden chakra flared, sending out a wave of desperate energy. We can't even touch him." Sasuke's voice was taut. "We need a strategy. His power isn't normal. He's beyond chakra and jutsu. He's controlling the battlefield itself." Alucard tilted his head, amused. The shadows around him twisted violently, forming hundreds of spectral warriors, all moving in perfect unison. They tore through what remained of Madara's chakra and limbo clones with terrifying precision. The gravitational implosion Madara formed collapsed under the overwhelming might of the Shadow Titan. The fragments of the moon and floating debris were absorbed into Alucard's energy, spinning into the swirling mass of darkness that now dominated the sky. Even the Ten Tails, the embodiment of massive chakra and power, flinched at the scale of Alucard's domination. The Hellhound, relentless, lunged at the creature, biting and tearing with bone-crushing force. But the real war had shifted above, the battle of immortals and legends beyond comprehension. Alucard's laughter cut across the battlefield. "Shinobi, you amuse me. You fought with courage, but courage alone cannot survive eternity." He fired Jackal and Kasul in perfect synchronization. Crimson bullets streaked across the sky, tearing through the remnants of Madara's defenses. Limbo clones evaporated instantly. Truth-seeking orbs shattered into nothingness. Naruto's eyes widened in disbelief. "He's unstoppable." Sasuke's jaw tightened. "We might survive, but the world won't ever be the same." The Shadow Titan extended its colossal hands, pulling mountains, rivers, and clouds into itself. Every fragment of the shattered world was absorbed, twisted, and reformed into extensions of Alucard's being. The atmosphere above rippled and bent, revealing glimpses of space, stars, and burning moon fragments spinning uncontrollably. Alucard's crimson eyes glimmered with malice and joy. Perfection, chaos, order, death, all mine. Madara's Rinnegan flickered weakly. "I will not be defeated." Alucard's grin stretched impossibly wide. "Defeated? Oh, you were defeated the moment I arrived. Now, the final act begins." The ground below quaked violently. Oceans rose in towering waves. Lightning struck repeatedly, igniting forests and cities alike. The air shimmered with energy. Even the Ten Tails, caught in the maelstrom, let out a final, desperate roar. Alucard's Shadow Titan pulsed with power, extending its arms to encompass the remaining continents. The world bent, warped, and twisted around him. Every fragment of destruction became part of his being. Naruto clenched his fists, Nine Tails chakra flaring in desperation. We have to survive! Somehow!" Sasuke's Rinnegan scanned the battlefield, seeking even the tiniest weakness. "We fight smart, not hard. Precision. Strategy." Alucard's laughter echoed across the horizon, a sound that would haunt the surviving world forever. "The finale is almost upon us, and it will be glorious." The world trembled, the oceans roared, and the sky above was a tapestry of destruction and shadows. The ultimate confrontation, the immortal vampire against the shinobi of fate, was reaching its apocalyptic crescendo. The world shuddered as if it knew its fate was being rewritten. Mountains split like paper. Oceans rose in towering columns, crashing into the sky. Moon fragments collided endlessly, igniting massive firestorms across the continents. The air shimmered with heat, energy, and raw chaos radiating from Alucard's shadow titan, now fully merged with him. His crimson eyes glinted with malice, and the swirling shadows of the titan moved as one, alive and sentient. Alucard hovered above the chaos, guns glowing, hat tilted. Every movement radiated overwhelming power. Each pulse of energy sent shockwaves across continents, cracking the planet's crust and boiling the oceans below. Naruto floated nearby, golden chakra blazing furiously. He's controlling the world itself. This isn't a fight. It's... Sasuke's voice cut sharply. It's apocalypse incarnate. The 10 tails thrashed violently in the oceans, trying to escape the gravitational distortions and tidal waves unleashed by the titan. The hellhound leapt and struck, tearing into the creature with brutal precision. Still, it was clear that the true battle raged above. Alucard's laughter echoed across the world, melding with the roar of the oceans and the shrieks of the 10 tails. The chaos, the destruction, the fear. It's intoxicating. From the distance, Madara floated, battered, bruised, and desperate. His limbo clones were gone. Susanoo was shattered, chakra nearly exhausted. Yet his pride burned stubbornly in his Rinnegan. "You cannot comprehend," he rasped. "I am eternal." Alucard's grin widened. "Comprehend? Oh, I don't just comprehend. I am eternity." The Shadow Titan extended its massive hands, pulling mountains, debris, and even fragments of the oceans into itself. The gravitational field distorted violently. Every fragment of destruction became part of Alucard's being. The sky itself twisted and bent, exposing glimpses of space and burning moon fragments. Naruto's eyes widened. He's absorbing everything. Even the planet is part of him. Sasuke's jaw tightened. He's unstoppable. We have to find a weakness. Any weakness. Alucard tilted his head, amused. "Oh, Shinobi, the only weakness here is your courage. And it's so deliciously futile." He fired Jackal and Kasul in perfect rhythm. Crimson bullets streaked across the sky, disintegrating the last remnants of Madara's chakra, scattering limbo clones, and obliterating floating debris. The shockwave from the strike sent tidal waves crashing across continents. The Shadow Titan roared, sending ripples of energy that bent reality itself. Mountains, oceans, forests, and cities were shredded and absorbed into the darkness. Every attack aimed at him, every force of nature, every weapon or jutsu became part of his power. Madara's voice was strained, weak, yet defiant. "You cannot contain me." Alucard's grin stretched impossibly wide. "Contain? Oh, I don't contain. I consume." The world below screamed in chaos. Rivers boiled, forests evaporated, cities were obliterated by shockwaves. Lightning tore across the sky in jagged red arcs. The 10 tails let out one final desperate roar, thrashing violently against the hellhound, but even its immense power was dwarfed by the titan. Naruto clenched his fists, golden chakra flaring. "We have to survive. We have to." Sasuke's eyes scanned for a tactical opening. "We fight smart, not hard. There must be a pattern, a rhythm." Alucard's laughter boomed across the horizon. "The finale is almost here, and it will be beautiful." The Shadow Titan surged forward, energy pulsing violently, absorbing every fragment of chaos, warping gravity, tearing the world apart, and reconstructing it as an extension of himself. The sky split further, revealing space, stars, and burning fragments of the moon. Even the remnants of Madara trembled under the power, his Rinnegan flickering in disbelief. "This cannot be." Alucard's crimson eyes glinted, filled with the thrill of battle. "Oh, it can, and it will. Watch closely, Shinobi. Eternity always wins." The oceans, forests, mountains, and skies were now completely at the mercy of the Shadow Titan. The stage for the ultimate act, the apocalypse incarnate, was set. The storm reached its crescendo. Energy, shadows, and destruction spiraled across the globe. The world teetered on the edge of total annihilation. Alucard's grin widened impossibly as he hovered above it all. Now, the final move. The air cracked, the oceans roared, and the sky ignited in a crimson blaze as the last act of destruction prepared to fall. The world held its breath. Every continent trembled, every ocean boiled, and the sky above burned with the furious light of colliding moon fragments. Mountains had crumbled, forests evaporated into ash, and cities were nothing more than smoldering ruins. The air shimmered with residual energy from the battles of gods and monsters. The chaos itself had become alive. Alucard hovered at the center, fully merged with his soul titan, eyes glowing crimson, guns raised. Shadows writhing across his massive form seemed almost sentient, twisting reality itself. The very earth beneath him groaned under his weight, oceans rising like molten silver around the fragments of shattered continents. Naruto, golden chakra blazing, hovered beside Sasuke, both exhausted but unbroken. Sasuke, this is beyond anything we've ever faced. Sasuke's Rinnegan scanned the battlefield, calculating and cold. He's rewriting reality. Every attack, every force of nature is feeding him. There's no conventional way to fight him. We survive by strategy, not power. The 10 tails, weakened and bleeding, thrashed violently in the boiling oceans. The hellhound leapt, tearing into its massive body with relentless precision. Even its immense power paled in comparison to the overwhelming presence of Alucard's titan. Alucard's laughter echoed, a sound that resonated across the continents, oceans, and skies. Delightful. Chaos, destruction, fear, all intertwined. And it's mine. Madara, battered and nearly defeated, floated weakly. His limbo clones were obliterated, Susanoo shattered, truth-seeking orbs reduced to dust. Yet the pride in his Rinnegan still burned. You cannot comprehend my power. Alucard's grin stretched impossibly wide. Comprehend? Oh, I do more than comprehend. I am eternity incarnate. The Shadow Titan extended its massive arms, pulling every fragment of the shattered world into itself. Mountains, oceans, forests, rivers, all became part of him. Energy, chakra, and raw destruction were absorbed, twisted, and reformed into extensions of his power. Naruto's voice trembled, gold radiating like a beacon of hope amidst ruin. We can't touch him, not with anything we have. Sasuke's jaw tightened. We must find a pattern, a rhythm, a flaw in the chaos. It's the only chance we have. Alucard's laughter rang louder, reverberating in every canyon, ocean, and crackling sky. The finale is here. The world bends, the world screams, and it's perfect. The Soul Titan pulsed violently. Shadows coalesced into hundreds of spectral warriors, all striking in perfect unison, obliterating the last remnants of Madara's chakra and any surviving fragments of limbo. The gravitational distortions collapsed, absorbed into the Titan's growing mass. The moon fragments, still colliding above, ignited massive firestorms that cascaded down like rivers of molten rock. The ocean surged, mountains shattered further, and even the air seemed to ripple and warp under the raw force of Alucard's control. Naruto's chakra flared desperately, Nine Tails' energy blazing like the sun. We survive. We can't lose. We have to survive. Sasuke's eyes glowed, cold and calculating. If we live, if we endure, maybe we can turn his own rhythm against him. Alucard tilted his head, amused by the defiance of the shinobi. Brave, foolish, but amusing. I admire it. Now, watch eternity consume the world. The Shadow Titan surged downward, massive fists smashing into the remnants of continents. Energy waves radiated outward, boiling oceans, flattening mountains, and vaporizing the last standing forests. The Ten Tails let out a final, desperate roar, thrashing violently, even as the Hellhound pinned it down with relentless precision. Alucard's crimson eyes gleamed with exhilaration. This is the ultimate canvas. Destruction, chaos, and immortality. All mine to shape. The final shockwave erupted. The oceans rose in impossible waves, mountains crumbled, and the sky split open completely, revealing the void beyond. The shards of the moon spun violently, merging into the swirling vortex of shadows around Alucard. Madara's defiance faltered. This cannot be. Alucard's grin widened to an impossible width. Shadows swirling violently. It can, and it will. Watch as eternity rises, and the world bends to me. The battlefield was consumed. Oceans, continents, forests, and skies became nothing more than extensions of the vampire's shadow. Even the sun seemed to dim beneath the oppressive crimson energy radiating from the Titan. Naruto and Sasuke clung to each other, observing the impossible power. "We survived," Naruto whispered, golden aura flickering. Sasuke's jaw was tight, eyes cold. "But the world will never recover from this." Alucard's laughter echoed across the universe, a sound that would haunt history, legend, and myth forever. The world is mine, and this is only the beginning. The shadows receded slowly, leaving devastation in their wake. Mountains were rubble, oceans littered with debris, and the sky still cracked with residual energy. The battlefield was silent, except for the whisper of shadows and the distant cries of the 10 Tails. Alucard hovered above it all, guns raised, crimson eyes glimmering with eternal malice. "Fun's over, for now. But remember, Shinobi, eternity never sleeps." The camera of the universe seemed to pull back, revealing the full scale of destruction. Continents shattered, oceans boiling, and the sky above torn apart. Yet in the eye of the storm, Alucard remained, eternal, untouchable, the ultimate predator in a world of chaos. And thus, the first age of apocalypse ended. The Naruto world had survived, but under the shadow of eternity. The end.